Welcome back to Pipe Dreams. We're back in the Ocho. We've had a massive hiatus because of me.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's what happens when you're in negotiations with the factory Harley.
Whoa, dude. It's confidential.
Not anymore.
It's confidential, dude. Yeah, so I've been gone. I went to Europe. We did some live wire stuff. I signed for Factory Harley. And
Just casual.
We did some other stuff. We did a golf trip with Kyle recently.
You're saying we. I wasn't invited. Kind of like that Punta Cana trip. Shout out to you, Briar.
Stop. Dude, everybody's going to be so sour about it. And then, yeah, we just flew out on the Big Bird. We came here. We did a couple days.
Where are we at?
Chuck Wall. We're in the Ocho garage.
The Ocho.
Big time.
We got a live crowd here. Big Ross in the back.
Yeah, big dog. Woof, woof. Ross has been killing it. But we came all the way out here to give you guys a pod. We know we've been slacking on it. It's because of me, but we're back. We're gonna do it. We're going, and
we are doing it. We're doing it right now.
All right, dude.
We're doing it live.
What have you been up to?
Just growing out this thing, dude. No shave November.
Dirty.
That's about it. I don't know. I've been just kind of taking a little bit of a break after the season. It was a long year, good year, but long year, and took a couple. Well, we actually had no time off. We came straight here to the Ocho, but you were, I don't know where you were. You weren't here. You didn't come to the first round. So, yeah, it's been good. We've been out here at Chuck Waller, just hanging out.
Yeah, but you've been traveling around America.
I have been traveling around America. Yeah,
you saw the Grand Canyon. You took Kay to see the Grand Canyon.
Yep, Grand Canyon. We did
big boyfriend points.
Hot Springs, Arkansas. We did everything.
How come
we
you're
went
not
to the
wearing
OWB.
How come you're not wearing the Kentucky hat?
Self-promotion.
Okay.
Got the best of me.
OWB. You went and saw. You went and hang out with Jake Lewis.
And Jake the Snake.
Very cool.
We went and hung out with him. Super cool. Owensboro it's cheap, man. I think I might have to make an investment property down there.
I don't know. You're gonna have to talk to Tommy Hayden or somebody over there who runs the place. But all right, enough of that. Let's get to our guest.
We're excited about this one. When we started doing the podcast, we wanted to obviously have racers on, right? But part of it was also just industry people. So this is our first.
Don't even say it.
Industry professional.
She races.
She does race too. Yeah.
So not a non-racer, but everybody, Chloé Lerin.
That was pretty good.
Right?
How do you say it?
Lerin.
Oh.
You want to say hello to your French fans?
Oh, bonjour, my fan français.
Oh, you don't even know?
That sounds weird. That sounds really weird.
I don't know if I speak French. Je m'appelle James.
Je m'appelle James. Oh, man.
Are we going to have subtitles?
Yeah.
The whole thing.
For you.
Like English subtitles?
Yeah.
We're going to have French subtitles, actually.
Hopefully bring that French.
Man. Yeah, we're going international.
So, people, I think your kind of nickname is the AIM girl.
Yeah. The AIM chick. Yeah.
Yeah. Chick. So, you're in the Ocho. Yeah. Why are you in Chuckwalla?
I am in Chuckwalla because I'm supporting the paddock and the series with AIM, which is a company that makes lap timers. Pretty much all the lap timers that people use at the club level. And I'm here to fix whatever is broken. If you just send it a little bit too hard and everything comes back in a million pieces, I don't know that I can fix it. But if you send it mid hard, I can do it.
I feel like 99% of people have no idea how to set up their AIM systems either.
Yeah,
so
there's that
is
too.
Me.
I do a lot of software help and just basic fixes and then a lot of software tips.
But I was part of the OG AIM where you had the white block that you had to put on the wall, and then you had to, when you came by it would read, and you had to put the little sensor on the side of the bodywork. You were too young.
Yeah, I wasn't born yet.
Dude, you're almost 30, dude.
Dude, you're almost
Relax.
40.
What?
James and I are the same age.
He was getting cranky today. He's getting cranky in his old age.
What?
Once 3 o'clock hits, he needs a nap or something, or a warm milk,
It is true. Dude, I've literally been traveling the entire time.
I don't want to hear it, dude. You've been on vacation.
So, AIM.
Yeah.
They've come a long way, right?
Yeah.
They've kind of would you say they're the leaders in lap time technology now moved into data, or how would you say?
They really are as far as go-karts are going. I mean, they just posted a picture of Max Verstappen in Vegas when he was doing the national championship for go-karts. like full AIM sponsors and everything. So they really are the leader in go-karts. They're really branching out in cars, and they have a lot of systems in cars. And I'm really trying to help them like get back into the motorcycle business. They were in motorcycles, I think, like maybe 5 years ago. And I don't know, something maybe slowed down, and then like I think we're picking back up again.
It seems like, well, there Ames always seems to have been there. I mean, I have one of the older ones that's got, it's all black and it was just a blue LCD. What? What?
That was before the telephone, okay?
It had a, you had to circle.
Seems like I had a stopwatch duct taped to my gas tank. Like, what, dude?
Dude, it's an AIM.
All right, we got it.
Okay, you go.
But it's like the same thing as a transponder, right? Like you had the receiver at the start finish, and then like those still exist.
No, this is the second gen I got. It was the first GP.
You're really dating
This is
yourself
actually
now.
a podcast about James's lap timers. Oh
We should
man!
have a museum of James's lap timers.
So tell us how you actually end up at Chuckwalla with AIM though, because you don't live in California, right? So do you travel to all the tracks in the U.S. or is it just the Chuckwalla?
No, so I really picked the Chuckwalla series because I think it was like 3 years ago. I had just gotten started working for MotoAmerica, and I was just like helping privateers here and there. I was the nerd at track day that had the Solo 2DL, and I was like, "Hey, look at this! This is so cool!" Like, it was really fun because I really started picking this up during COVID, and I work in a lab a lot on engines, and I couldn't really go into the lab anymore. So I was like, "Hey, like, there's obviously something that I can put on my motorcycle to actually get data from my engine. So what is it?" So I found the AIM lap timers and got one for Christmas. It was like kind of my gift to myself. And started helping privateers. And like that first year of MotoAmerica was so fun during 2020 when like I had more time in my hands that I just didn't want to lose touch with the whole paddock. And I was like, okay, what can I do during the winter? So I had done by then a couple webinars with AIM. It's been a company that has supported me from the beginning, from like when they first reached out, when they saw what I was doing with like helping people at the track, to like now. They've been extremely supportive, and they've just basically given me everything that I've asked for or everything that I've needed. And they're like, hey, whatever series you want to do, just let us know and we'll let you borrow the red van. It's like a really, really cool Sprinter, like all set up with cabinets inside and a working station. It's really cool. And yeah, I just like the one series that actually makes sense for us motorcycle racers is Chuckwalla, is CVMA, because all of you guys are here. I mean, there's really some really good people, some really fast people, and there is also a bunch of very serious racers, I think, in California that are really migrating to, I mean, that are in California, and also like people from all over the U.S. that are coming to California. I think CVMA has done a really good job, or Chuckwalla has done a very good job at like promoting the series and also like allowing people to come here from afar. There's some really cool cabins. You guys with the Ocho are having a really, really cool program, like helping New Yorkers, come here and like leaving their bags and providing crew. I mean, it's probably the most professional club series that we have in the U.S. So it really made sense to be here, keeping in touch with the fast racers, being with like the MotoAmerica paddock, but at the same time like helping people that are trying to train during the winter to make it to MotoAmerica. So it's been really fun during the season of MotoAmerica to see people that I've met during, Chuckwalla races that are there and that are making it to their first race as a privateer, for example. So yeah, it just makes sense. It's a really good series here.
So you didn't actually work for AIM previously, so you were doing something else, and then you just were like into it, and they saw it and picked you up.
I think if I go back 3 years, I think I was just making Instagram stories, and I was tagging AIM all the time. And I think for fun, at some point, they might have liked the story, and I responded. I was like, "Hey, do you guys hire?" And yeah, I think the president of AIM US, the distribution center in the US, Mike Janes, like big shout out to him because he's been really awesome. I think he responded. He was like, "Yeah, just like send your resume to this email address," and then we got in touch. And like I was kind of joking because I I had a decent job doing research, and I knew they were not going to sponsor Visa, so that's a whole other world that you know.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, yeah. So, but it was really, really cool to get in touch with them like that. And then I think like mid 2020, they invited me to do a webinar on motorcycle data, and that really worked out. Like it actually was a pretty big hit. We started at the basics, like what do you do with a SO2DL? It's not just a lap timer. Here's like all of the possibilities of, how you can analyze your data and all of the calculations that you can run on what you have. And like a lot of people have that Solo 2, and they just use it as a screen that shows their lap time. And it's so much more to it. So we did like a whole spiel on that. That worked really well. And then I think 2-3 weeks ago, I did my 6th webinar with them.
I actually thought about signing up for that.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff that you like, literally that's all I use it for is a lap timer. And there's so much, like you said, there's so much. Where have you always been into data? Like, has that been your thing? Or I know you said 2020 was really where you started playing around with AIM, but data wise, and like where did that come from, and how did the motorcycle thing tie through with the data?
That's interesting. Wow. So way back
All
then.
right.
8 years old me goes to my grandpa on vacations, and he just like welcomes us with a PW80, and they
With
had
one
this
gear.
3 gears, no clutch. It was
Okay.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
PW80.
Yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
yeah, it's before your time, but
Before your time. Yeah. You know what a carburetor is? So like we
that's
go
good. I like
we
that.
go on our summer vacations, and it's like there's a dirt bike that's right there, and they had a pretty good backyard. So I started riding then. Sent myself into bushes so many times. Like it's kind of funny. I had no skills. And that's like that was like the first love for motorcycles. And like I kind of had a hiatus for a long time. And when I got my first paycheck, because I was doing some kind of co-ops, like I was going to engineering school, and so I always loved like things that move. So at first I wanted to be an airplane pilot, and then I was like, I don't really know if I want to be in the military. That I don't really like people telling me what to do. So I was like, I'm just gonna design planes, and then I like had my first internship in a company that was making aircraft engines. I was like, oh, engines are super cool. So like, let's do that. And so I had my first paycheck through that. I was like, okay, it's April 1st. I'm gonna buy my first motorcycle. Tell my mom about my motorcycle. She absolutely did not believe me, but here I was. And like just started riding street. And when I came to the U.S., and we can get back to that later, when I came to the U.S. and got my very first job, I was like, okay, I need to put a motorcycle on a racetrack. Like I want to do something that's fun. So that was the part with motorcycles. So I started doing track days and like the normal progression. I did a few club races, and at the same time, I was going through an engineering school. I was getting my first job in engines, and I came to the U.S. because I wanted to study internal combustion engines. So I did my master's in that, and I was working with dynos. So I've always been working on engine dynos, and it's been like that since 2012 when I was at John Deere in France, and then that's what brought me to the U.S. And when you are on an engine dyno, you're gathering a ton of data. So you're looking at RPM traces, you're looking at engine temperatures, you're looking at all of those things. So it's like it was something that I was used to doing. Like I was telling Russ, it's not that I'm a data engineer in training. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I'm used to looking at all that data, and that's something that I really rely on in order to make decisions moving forward, like in setup or engine calibration and all that. And when I started doing like more performance-oriented riding, I was like, okay, I don't really know how to express myself. Like I don't remember what happened on lap 3 and like turn 5. Like it was so overwhelming at first that I just needed something to kind of help me. And you guys all know track day coaches are not always the most reliable coaches, right?
You
like,
don't see.
You actually provide some professional coaching. So I didn't really know like who to trust and really like how to convey what I was going through. And I was like, okay, I just need to log everything that's going on, and then I can look at it. So that's really how it started. I was like, I need to find something that works for me. So I did it on myself, progressed quite a bit, and started helping other people, because that lap timer, like you said, is like everybody has one. So yeah, that's it. That's how I started in data.
So you actually didn't even ride a motorcycle on the street or on a road race track until you got to the U.S.
Yeah.
Did you ride motorcycles in France?
I did. I had a street bike. Yeah. So for maybe 3 or 4 years before I moved to the U.S., I had a motorcycle.
What was
Did you
your
have a
first one?
bagger? Was
It was a bagger. You can only have a bagger. You can only afford a bagger if you're like 60 and retired in Europe.
Ooh,
Oof.
it's you, Jimmy.
Soon, that's gonna be me. Big
Yeah.
pegs out front.
It was
Cruise.
That's probably she
Going
probably developed the
straight.
cruise control.
it was a Kawasaki ER5.
Wait, because for people that don't know, in Europe, you have to go through quite a bit different training to get your motorcycle license, and you can only go up certain bike sizes as
Yeah.
you get higher levels of a license, correct?
Yeah, so I had to pick that 500 just because of the power level. So you're limited to, I think it's like 47 kilowatt,
Okay.
whatever that is in horsepower, for 2
Wait,
years.
what?
Kilowatt,
Wait,
isn't
hold
that
on.
electricity?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, yeah.
Can you
it's a,
can you give us a number crunch real quick?
it's a value of power. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what that is. Like,
Could you
40
translate that to American?
Hey,
by any chance?
No,
Russ,
I
can
can't
you
do
get the
that.
can
How
you
many
get,
ponies?
Can you get the whiteboard out?
How many ponies is that?
So that ER5 must have been like a Ninja 500 then? Is that kind of what
Yeah,
that is?
yeah. It's like
Oh,
a naked
okay.
bike. Yeah. It was like 2003, carbureted. I think it's twins.
Mm.
I don't even know. I know it was liquid cooled. That's all I remember.
Two-stroke.
It was blue. It was cute. No. It was a four-stroke.
Can you imagine a
Of course.
Kickstarter on this?
No. We have electricity in Europe, you know?
Do you?
Yeah, electrons and everything. Yeah. Yeah, that was that. It was kind of fun. Like, I think I bought it for like 1,300 euros or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was dirt
And-
cheap. It was awesome.
Did your father ride or your family?
No, not at all.
So you were the first one in your family to ride.
Yeah. So my dad, there's this thing in France where like when you got your car license back in the days, like before your time, like way back, you got like a 125cc license with it. So my dad had a 125cc when he was younger.
Okay.
But that was it. No,
So you
no-
get that
no more
automatically when you get your car license? And
But it's like a
But
scooter,
not
though.
anymore. Not anymore. You used to. So my dad had that.
GP
Like,
125.
like more like a
just bump starting out of your driveway.
no, more like an old dirt bike probably.
Mm.
But yeah, so my dad kind of rode a little bit, but that was it. No, like no one in my direct family actually rode. My parents are farmers. The worst story is, or the best story, I don't know what it is. I live, or my parents live 2 hours from Le Mans,
Oh, cool.
west of Le Mans, and we would see people driving there, and my parents would be like casually, yeah, you know, like oh, they're probably going to the 24 hours, or they're going to like the motorcycle races. I had never been until 3 months ago.
Really?
I had never been to Le Mans ever.
And so I've been to Le Mans 24 hour.
No, like I had never been to the track at all. So,
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm surprised 2 hours away you didn't hear during the 24-hour all the guys.
Probably hear bikes in their house.
No, we would see them. Like we would see like tons of people going, and my parents were like, "Yeah, they're going to the 24 hours. Like no big deal." But it's not something that we made an effort to go watch or see or attend or anything.
Yeah,
like-
it's the Le Mans 24-hour was insane. I did it with I actually rode with JP, and yeah, I was fourth rider. I did 2 sessions on a Penn's BMW, actually, crazy enough. And then I went to the MotoGP race, and both, I don't know which one was more insane, but it was a Tuesday before the race, and they're just on the bikes just never stop. They just da 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 da, and they're holding them wide and just killing them, and then they're just popping, and like just the headers are glowing. It's like you have to drive 45 minutes away to just not hear it and go to sleep. It's crazy.
Have you seen the parking lots at MotoGP in the 24 hours? It's
Yeah.
like it's insane.
If you
It's, like,
if you
so
drive
many
a car, you're dead. Like you can't get out.
Have you been to one since you got into bikes?
No, so I went to a track day in
That-
August.
That was recently though. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
Joshua.
so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah.
yeah, so introduced the boyfriend to the family.
Whoa.
Came to like do a little like vacation in France, and then the one thing was like, yo, like we both ride, we have to go to Le Mans. I've never been. I don't care. Let's do it. And it's this really cool track day organization called First on Track that JP also rode with. They're French. They have this really cool system where like you can rent bikes. They're affiliated with Honda for some reason.
Yeah.
But they also have this option where you can put your bike on the crates and just sign up for the whole season, and they just drive to all those really cool tracks, and you just fly in.
That is sick.
And it's like Mugello, Jerez, Spa, Brno, like all of those really, really cool tracks, and they have Magny-Cours and Le Mans. And so we signed up for Le Mans. Dude, it was $200 a day, 200 euros a day to ride Le Mans.
That's cheap.
It's crazy.
It was insane. It's pretty
There's
much
quite a lot of people though. Like the sessions I did in England were rammed.
I don't really remember that much traffic, but it's
Okay.
also a big track. It's
Yeah.
really wide.
How'd you like the track?
It was awesome.
Going under the Dunlop Bridge and
So good.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite tracks probably. It's really good.
Like the end of that front straight when you're going uphill and it's turning and you're just like,
Yeah.
I mean, we're on the 600, so you just try
Yeah.
to leave it pin, right? It was so good. And we had played MotoGP on the
Yeah.
PlayStation before, like on
Yeah.
the Xbox, like trying to actually learn the track, and it was actually pretty useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't really realize the undulation on TV though. Like after you go under the Dunlop Bridge, that right, that left, like going into that double right where the two straightaways are, it's so downhill.
Really?
It's really like downhill, and it's really hard to stop for that corner. It's crazy. It's you just you can't see it. And like coming out, like the Dunlop Bridge going up over and then down right is pretty gnarly. Like it's really G'd out. It's kind of crazy.
But it feels so safe. Like you have so much runoffs. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
clean.
It's
The
a GP
facilities
track.
are like pretty decent. Yeah.
Le Mans. So great trip.
Amazing. We started with Paris because you have to,
Okay.
and then really
Shopping?
amazing food.
You go to
No,
Champs.
just, like,
How do you say it? Champs-Élysées.
Champs-Élysées.
There you go.
Yeah. We actually didn't really go there. It's a little too touristy. I took him to like more I want to say cultured places. Like there are a lot of streets in Paris that are just I think a lot more beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But so we went there like essentially went to the D-Day beaches. Took him there.
Okay.
And it's kind of cool for an American
Yeah.
to just go there. And then made our way
Is
back
that
like
Is that what's it called?
in Normandy.
Okay.
Normandy.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know where you're
Omaha-
going with that one, to be
Omaha
honest with
Beach.
you.
I don't know
I
where
thought you
you're
were just
going.
going to ask what D-Day was. to be
No,
honest.
dude.
So,
No,
I'm
no.
like,
I was thinking of a movie. Okay.
Dunkirk?
Yeah.
No, that's south of it. Dunkirk is like way more north.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
I was all right. It's not all right. All right.
It's okay.
So you said you were in airplane stuff. How did you go from, obviously you didn't continue with that?
No, so I really wanted to work on airplanes. I thought that those engines were really cool. My engineering school had this really cool concept where you do 2 years of like general prep, and then it's a 5-year school, and the last 3 years are, you could take the option to do apprenticeship. So you essentially find a company that sponsors you, and then you go. You alternate, so you go to school for 2 weeks and then go to work for 2 weeks and then alternate like that for 2 years, and then the last year is like 6 months. And I really, really tried to get back to the same company that was making those really cool aircraft engines, but I really didn't find an opportunity there, except for like one that was in the foundry, and I really wasn't interested in making
In what?
like metallurgy, whatever, I don't know how to pronounce it, like just making parts, like melting metal,
Oh.
and like making all of those individual blades that like, because an aircraft engine has so many layers of like small blades.
Huh.
It's like a big compressor and then a big turbine. Like it's really interesting, but I didn't really want to get into that. I really wanted to be like in the engine, like how the engine works overall. And the opportunity that I got was at John Deere. So I got
Yeah. She thinks my tractor sexy.
so I went my big green tractor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
Did you have to have a country accent? Like
No, I come from.
It was
the
John
country.
Deere France.
It was John Deere France. No, I grew up in a farm.
I know.
So it was good. It's just like I fit it in right.
Do you have like is there a country accent? Is there a French equivalent to like a redneck accent?
Yeah.
Is there?
I don't know how to do it. I can't do it.
Come
but yeah,
on.
my dad, like when my dad
Can
speaks
you
to my uncle,
please?
no,
Can
I
you just
can't.
try?
I
Does
can't.
it even sound like the same thing?
No, I mean it's like a southern accent here.
Like, how do you
like,
hey y'all? How do
It's
you
like
say hey
slow and
y'all in
drawn out.
French?
I know how to say like, yeah, bye. Like they're like à tantôt. It's so weird.
Oh,
It's cute.
I wouldn't know if that's country.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
yeah, but it's like
Entendez-vous.
it's
I'm
like this
sorry.
weird dialect. It's
sorry.
funny.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
funny.
I want
sorry.
to see you.
So
Like,
you
what's your impression of like a southern accent?
Howdy, y'all.
Yeah,
Howdy, y'all.
yeah.
Yeah,
We're gonna get some.
You like my tractor?
we're gonna get some Jake Lewis.
yeah.
We're gonna get some.
He actually doesn't feel like he has that bad of a southern
Oh.
accent. You think so?
Yeah,
Sorry, Jake.
yeah.
Mm.
No,
You
Jake.
do.
Yeah. Hey, that's Jake.
No, not like
What?
Scott Russell southern
Hi.
accent.
Hi.
Well, it's like wine. Like you have like different regions,
Yeah.
and the South has like different accents, and like I felt like my understanding of English got better once I went to the South, and like I could actually know, oh, that person's from Texas, and, like this person's from Alabama, like that. Like I was like, okay, I mastered the English language.
Have you
the
have you gone
dialects.
have you gone to Boston yet?
No,
Harvard
I
Yard.
haven't.
Where'd you park your
Boston.
car? Harvard Yard.
Well, you've been to Wisconsin, right? We say bag,
Ye-
or they say bag.
You
Want a
ever
bag,
worked-
like
have
a
you
plastic
been-
bag?
Yeah.
Have you been working on your Wisconsin accent?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
I love it.
So
You will
good.
too.
Cheese.
So it's like I work for John Deere, and coming from a farm, like my dad was ecstatic. He thought it was awesome. He's just like he thought I was gonna hook him up with a sponsorship program, so he could be like a test rider for John Deere.
Oh, I
Never
love
happened.
That. I love that.
And my dad is like a massive Ferguson guy, so like red tractors, very very different. But anyways, like he
It's
was so
funny
proud.
to
It was
think
so
about
funny.
like that being a thing in France. You know, I guess everyone uses the same tractors as us, but like
No, because Nikki's father is big into agricultural and tractors and stuff like that, and he uses who's the blue company?
New Holland.
Maybe I think he's big proponent.
Okay.
But
they're
There's a
all
bunch of
American
different brands.
companies, though, right?
So
Is John Deere an American
there's-
company?
John Deere's American. Case IH is American.
What's Kubota?
Kubota.
It's Korean or
It's
Japanese.
Korean or
or
Japanese, I
something.
think.
Mm.
They're orange. I
Yeah.
think. Massey Ferguson, I think, is American, but they have a big plant in France, and I think that's why my dad has that, is because it's made in France.
Mm.
Yeah. Anyways, so tractors, and then obviously John Deere. John Deere is an American company, and I had to do an internship abroad. So they sent me to Iowa in like January of 2014, which was like the day I landed in the U.S. was a polar vortex. It was like minus 45 outside. That was my very first day in the
Welcome.
U.S. Yeah.
And you're like, this is America.
Iowa.
Yeah, because I'm
That's
sure
really
you probably looked it up.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think like, obviously you have the stereotypes of America. You have like the Hollywood actors, you have like the New Yorkers, and then like the stereotype of the cowboy exists, but I didn't think it was true. Dude, we went line dancing on Thursdays.
Nice.
It was actually fun. Like knowing that I was there only for 10 weeks made it really, really fun. I was like, all right, this is like a full like cultural immersion, and people are awesome. I mean, the Midwestern people are absolutely
Super
awesome. They're
nice.
so nice.
Yeah,
So
they have a lot of respect and manners.
John Deere actually was who sent you on
Yeah.
the internship, so you had to have an internship just to work there. You had to
Yeah.
have to go abroad.
yeah,
That's
so I
interesting. Oh,
had
wait.
like so my
That's
my
cool.
my engineering school demands that you go abroad at least for 10 weeks. I think was the minimum in order to graduate. Like they won't give you your degree if you don't have a certain level of English, and if you don't like spend a certain amount of time abroad.
So
It's part of the requirements.
abroad anywhere. You go to
Anywhere.
Europe,
Yeah.
other places. Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of people went like to just other European countries.
Why would you? And was it paid for, or did you have to pay?
It was paid for. I think it just depended on like which company they were affiliated with. I was really lucky that I didn't have to like find a sister company or anything. It was just John Deere. It was just
So
like,
what did
natural.
you actually do at John Deere?
I was doing it's called NVH, noise vibration harshness. So essentially they're gigantic engines. I was working on like 9, 13 liters engines. Like the two programs I had like were 9 and 13 liters. And they have a ton of emission requirements because they're diesel engines. So we were putting accelerometers on a bunch of different places of the engine, and we were recording like how the engine was flexing and how like all the other components were moving compared to like just the base engine.
Wow.
So just like bunch of same thing, engines and sensors everywhere on top of the engine, and we were like recording the sound and trying to find where the biggest sources of noise were coming from.
And then do you try to quiet him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're trying to really identify where it's coming from because there's noise regulations as well that you have to pass. So we're taking care of that, and then mostly like you're in a really harsh environment when you're driving a tractor on I was gonna say on the track, in the field, and like things are vibrating quite a bit. So if you have a very big moving mass on top of an engine that's vibrating quite a bit, then you could potentially break the brackets. So we're just like working on that stuff. But that's how I really got started in like putting sensors on engines. And then when I was at John Deere, I met a bunch of engineers that were really good, really, really good at their jobs. And at the time, I wanted to do some kind of a master's degree in England. And it kind of didn't really pan out. It was pretty expensive too. But all of those engineers that I met at John Deere all came from the same school in Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin-Madison. They all had the same degree. They all went to the same school. They all went to the same lab. And I was like, okay, I got to apply there. So I visited, talked to professors, applied, and then eventually got in. So did my internship, went back to France, finished my semester. Actually came back to the U.S. to University of Michigan and did a full semester there, just finishing classes and stuff like that.
Were you like boarding on campus?
I was just living off campus with friends. Actually, I made some really long time friends there. It was cool. But so I did like my last year of engineering school was like 6 months at University of Michigan, 6 months back at John Deere. Got into grad school, went to Wisconsin. So like I've done a lot of the Midwest.
Yeah.
Since I've been here.
What's that like? Is that like a big Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah.
What these guys are doing down there.
Do they know we're on the pod?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
We gotta get one of those big signs outside. So it's like recording.
No, live.
In session.
What is that like to, like, obviously you have to be really passionate about something to put yourself in the middle of Michigan to go to school just for a semester. That's not a very long time. Like that seems like a lot of steps essentially.
Yeah.
Did you have like a bigger picture plan, or you just kind of went with it and just it took you where it took you?
I just went with it. Like after my first internship, I came back to France and I told my professor, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to try to finish my last year in the US. So I thought it was pretty cool. And they were like, hey, cool, good luck. And I got the admission in University of Michigan, and then I was able to manage doing my internship again at John Deere, and then I got in grad school. And I remember my professors being like, oh, wow, like that's actually possible. That's really awesome. So no, I was just like going with the flow. Like this is like an opportunity here and there. You know?
It's not a common thing then?
It is common to do an exchange semester.
But not to like actually come over and stay over.
No. It was really not planned. Like, I mean, the very first time that I came to the U.S., I didn't really care about it. I was like, I had no interest in coming to the U.S. and
it was just like
visiting.
A stop. It was just a stop for your.
Yeah, it was like, it's going to be a really cool experience. I'm just going to do it. It's going to be 6 months. It's going to be fun, or 3 months at the time. It's going to be fun. And I thought I was just going to go home and like continue, but I liked it. Like, it's Iowa, it's cool, but I'm learning a ton. I think the biggest thing was my English was getting better. I was able to make friends like from all over the world because John Deere's a really big company. I was just like expanding horizons, right? It's like a new country. It's a bunch of new stuff. So I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Everybody had motorcycles. Like there was a good motorcycle culture at Harley, at John Deere. So yeah, it was just like totally different new life.
So at what point did you start riding?
I was just visiting. Like everything was really transient at the time because it was 3 months and then it was 6 months and then another 6 months.
Just jumping around.
Completely jumping around. And then when I got into grad school, so Madison, Wisconsin, like in the middle of Wisconsin, I got like kind of a bonus from John Deere at the end of my contract. And I was like, okay, I can buy a car or I can buy a motorcycle. Like obviously the smart thing to do was to buy a motorcycle.
Year in Wisconsin.
I bought a motorcycle. So I I did. It was my dream. It was my dream bike at the time. I had a Hornet CB599, yellow. I was so in
Wow.
love with that bike. Like
Okay.
2003, 2004 Hornet. And I mean, honestly, I didn't ride it that much because it was either too hot or too cold. But it was awesome. It looked so cool. I was like, okay, yeah.
That is
We would just
cool.
like roll the bike in the lab like during the winter and just work on it sometimes.
Huh.
So it was fun.
Was there a lot of? I guess this might sound bad to even ask, but is there a lot of females in that trade? Like were you, especially in France, is that a big thing?
No, I would say like in engineering, it's like 1 out of 5, like 20%.
Hmm.
And most women end up going to like a lot of logistics engineering, a lot of biomedical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
In mechanical engineering, it's like 1 out of 15, 1 out of 20.
So is that what your degree's actually in? Is in mechanical
It's
engineering?
mechanical engineering, yeah.
Oh, okay. I just thought
Yeah.
it was just AIM.
It's just
I just had a degree in
a
AIM.
degree in AIM. That's pretty cool.
All right, dude.
It's freaking cool. No,
You're better than that.
No, I thought it was more like data analysis. Though I didn't know you're actually a mechanical
so
engineer.
if you have a degree in like data science in the US, it has nothing to do with what we're doing in motorcycles. So like data engineers, like real data scientists and data engineers, or like they're the people that are behind the like all the cookies online.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're the people that are gathering all that data and then just like sending you targeted ads, or like the people that behind Wall
James is
Street.
like, I love cookies.
Dude, I'm like, when you said they're buying all the
Someone say
cookies,
cookies?
I'm like, what cookies? I'm like, what?
You really missed your career.
Oh,
Dude.
dude, you're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah, it's like real data science is that like is people running like like crunching numbers behind the scenes on the internet, like trying to understand trends at Wall Street, like all that. Most data engineers, like so-called data engineers that you'll see in the paddock, or we all come from either controls engineering or mechanical engineering. So controls is like how your ECU works, like how everything interacts, like all of those maps interacts in the background. And then mechanical engineers is like just like how your engine works, for example. So data comes with it because we need to understand what we're working on, and so we're putting sensors on everything. But it's not like, it's not like a real data scientist, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I guess fast forward now, you're not working at John Deere anymore.
No, I'm not working at John Deere anymore.
We talked about AIM, but you also do a couple other things. What are your other
So
roles?
I wear a couple hats. So when I was in grad school in Madison, I was working on a small engine consortium, and Harley-Davidson was part of my sponsors. So I would meet regularly with like people from the industry, and I started getting some really good contacts with Harley-Davidson. And so coming out of grad school, I really wanted to work for them. They were not sponsoring visas at the time. And I actually applied to a bunch of different companies in Europe because at the time I was like, I guess it's normal. I'm just going to go back to Europe, right? Nothing really worked out. Like Triumph didn't work out. BMW didn't work out. I actually got a job at Honda in Japan. So like I had a professor who had really good ties in Japan and put me in touch with like guys at Honda cars who put me in touch with the people at Honda motorcycles, and they flew me to Japan, and I interviewed there in Saitama, like right out of Tokyo. So I spent like 4 days in Tokyo, and like one of those days was an interview. So I got to like get into the actual HRC, did the interview, got an offer, didn't take it. I think just because I learned how the Japanese culture works and how they don't really value grad school. So like you start at the very bottom, whereas in the US I could have started like basically with 5 years of experience, like higher. So I ended up going to Cummins for very shortly, worked on like big engines. Then I did some like government research on very, very big engines for a national lab in Tennessee. Got my green card through that. And then like first thing was like, okay, what can I do now that I have my green card?
So go back to Honda, and when you say that, is it financially you're saying that, or actual just being able to do things?
So being able to do things. So
Okay.
from what I was explained, first of all, like financially, it's not as good as what you're going to make in the US, and it works very differently. But they make you start at the very bottom because in Japan, they have this idea that you're going to dedicate your entire career to the one company that you're going to start in. So it doesn't matter if you start sweeping the floors because you're going to be there for 30 years. Whereas like I had this mindset, like I went to grad school, I got a master's degree, like I want to start at something where I'm doing really cool R&D right away, which would have taken me about 5 to 6 years in Japan. So that, and I had a boyfriend at the time, and like life happened, right? So it was really, really hard to turn down because I thought it was my absolute dream. I grew up doing judo, and judo is Japanese, and so I went and trained there for that one, like that short trip that I was there. So it was kind of tough, but like I think everything turned out for the better.
Did you study any Japanese?
No,
Okay.
no, I was gonna wing it. I was like, I guess I was able to learn English, so I guess I can do Japanese. Like I don't know.
Do you think
I was
maybe,
probably disillusioned.
think maybe you could have turned around the MotoGP project or no?
Like seeing how it is now, I'm like, just me. Just me.
Mark,
I think you could have. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Mark would have stayed.
I don't know. Sorry, Mark. I could have done better.
That is super cool, but to like Cummings, I mean, I guess John Deere, Cummings, completely different,
Cummins,
or
brother. There's no G there, brother.
Cummins.
Okay,
Cummins.
All right,
Don't
man.
disrespect us like that.
America.
You don't know. This guy's like just a massive truck. Like, what do you have? F-250?
Yeah, don't got a Cummins though. It's got a power stroke.
And the thing literally just shakes. Yeah. It sounds like this is crazy.
He's ripe for Kentucky.
Oh, he loved it.
I loved it.
That's all I heard
picture
about.
myself just driving around.
That's
in my
all
truck.
I heard about. That's all I heard about when he was there with Jay. Like, dude, we can do it. Side by side properties.
So there's like one guy that's going to Kentucky, the other one that's going to Punta Cana. Like I know who I'm going on vacations with.
Yeah,
Just saying.
Don't knock it till you try it. Kentucky's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's why the Haydens still live there.
Because they own it. Because they own it, bro. It's freaking OWB.
So how big of a part was actually getting your visa and stuff? Because I know like James's girlfriend, it's like been a huge deal for them just to get her visa so she could stay over. Is that obviously weighed a lot into the job selection process, I would imagine?
It was a really big deal. So Cummins is a really good company that sponsors a lot of visas. When you have what they call an advanced degree, so either a master's or a PhD, you get one more chance at being picked. So your application goes into, so a company has to apply for you. Yes, I think it's super expensive. Like it's tens of thousands of dollars. They apply for you. You get put into this like pool of applicants.
Lottery.
And yeah, big lottery. If you don't get picked in the first draw, then you get, when you have a master's degree or a PhD, you get put into a second one and you have a second chance. Yeah, like I was lucky enough that I got it for the first time. Like first year that I applied, or they applied for me, I got it. But then that's just a work visa. So it's good for 3 years, renewable at like one round, so another 3 years. So you can have it for 6 years. And then I got it through, then I went to work for a company it's not a company, it's like a national lab for the government. And I was doing research, so I got it through that. I got the green card through that.
Oh, wow. That's how you did it.
Yeah, but it requires like publications, like scientific publications and all of that. So that was really, really cool. And I think you've mentioned that. I heard you mention that when you are from a country that is not really well represented within the pool of immigrants in the US, you actually have more chances because they're trying to really promote like the diversity. So you have this thing called the diversity lottery. That's also an option where I think it's 50,000 green cards go to people from countries that don't have a lot of immigrants. So like if you're from Brazil, Mexico, I think Canada, like you don't qualify for that. But if you're from like most European countries or like small Asian countries, you can get in. So that is also another avenue, but it's really tough, really, really tough. And honestly, I couldn't really work in the paddock until I had my green card because you're not allowed to get paid. So I was volunteering the very first 2 years, I think, just doing it for free.
That was even up until
2020, the end of 2021.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's interesting. And could you have gotten your green card at Cummins?
Yes, possibly, but it would have taken longer.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they, as a company, they're saving money. So they were going to go through, the whole 6 years of visa.
Yeah, of
and
course.
Then, in year number 6, they would apply for the green card. And then that's a way to keep you there. Because when you have a green card, you can work for anybody you want. when you have a work visa, you only can work for the company that sponsors your visa.
Yep.
So that's tough. So like, really, once I got the green card, like I started my LLC. Like I started doing a bunch of more work in the paddock. I was able to work for AIM and actually just like rep AIM in the paddock because all of that because I wasn't really restricted by like the laws of work visas basically.
So when did you actually start working at Harley then? That was pretty recent.
It was pretty recent. So 2021, I was at MotoAmerica working for Knowles, who was writing Twins at the time. So just like privateer effort. And two of my coworkers that I knew from, current coworkers, but people that I knew from grad school. One of them was sponsoring my project when I was in grad school, and the other one was like in grad school with me. They were at MotoAmerica to watch baggers because it was the very first year that baggers were at MotoAmerica. And like they walk there and like I see them and we chat a little bit and they're like, "Hey, what's your situation right now? Because we actually have an opening in our team." And I was like, "Oh yes, hell yeah!" So I applied right away. I had just been converted from like contractor to full time at my old job, and I was like, it had been 3 weeks, I think, and I was like, I'm applying, like I'm going, and like a few weeks after that, I was accepted at Harley and started at Harley.
So was it for the race team right away?
No.
Oh, okay.
The team that I work for at Harley is called Performance and Noise. And we do essentially like all of the R&D about 3 years before production.
Okay.
So like we're the team that's responsible for like setting up what the architecture of the engine is. So which cams we're going to select, which intake, which exhaust, like the bulk of the work of the engine. And then I'm mostly responsible for calibration. So base calibration, so like spark tables, like torque mapping. So all of the engine dyno work. And then we essentially give that package to calibrators, and then they put that engine on a bike, and then they go to chassis dyno and they refine everything. They fine tune everything. They do all of the emissions stuff. But like my team is responsible for, okay, we're committed that we're going to have an engine that has like X horsepower and whatever amount of torque. Like we're responsible for delivering that. And so we got to design. I'm not doing any design. I'm doing a lot of the like.
So you just get essentially numbers, and then you guys you have somebody design cams and build the rest of it, and then you just hit those specs.
Yeah, essentially, it's pretty cool.
That is.
Yeah, so
I didn't even know that.
So your first motor project hasn't even come out yet, technically.
If you take the race engine out, because I've been involved in the race engine a little bit. If you take the race engine out, no, like my next project is coming out in 2025.
Wow.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's got to be really cool.
It's crazy to like think that far ahead. So when do you start working on, then 2025 you'll start working on the next thing, or you guys work already?
No, we always have like a bunch of different projects. Like right now we're supporting something that's coming out next year. We go through phases. So we have like proof of concept, and then we go to product validation or development, and then product validation. So you have all of those steps, and like at some point the engine comes back into dyno and we refine it. So like right now there's a project where we're like going back in dyno it's a model year 2024, and so we're fine-tuning a few things. But yeah, none of my big projects have come out yet. And I've been there for 2 years.
How did you, so if you're there and you're seeing a race team start because you went to the race, and obviously you're seeing baggers, how do you get onto that project Harley's a massive company.
It's not actually.
Okay.
Like it's actually no like it's crazy because there's so many dealerships everywhere. Like, do you know how many employees are at Harley?
300.
Like total, just take a guess.
No,
1,200.
It's like 5,000 worldwide.
Okay.
It's not that big. It's like Cummins in comparison, like Cummins is 60 or 70,000 worldwide.
Wow.
So it's actually not that. I mean, it's a big company, but it's not like a gigantic company. So it's like, as far as engine people like me, like our team has 6 or 7 people, but then like you take all of the powertrain, we're maybe 50 people. Like there's 50 people in the world that are designing and producing engines for Harley. It's actually not that big.
It's not.
Yeah, so we have 8 development dynos. And at some point, in 2021, the race engine was going in there for like hardcore development. It was the year after Kyle had won like those 3 races, and we were like, okay, like we're gonna ramp it up. It's going to be, I think, 5 races. Then it became 6. Now it's 7 or 8, or I forget. Like I lose count. But so the effort was really like, much bigger. They actually created a race team. It was not just like enthusiasts are working after hours, right? So it became a lot more serious. And so we put an engine in an engine dyno, and we started developing parts for it. And there was a phase of calibration that I'm responsible for within the company that this engine needed. So I volunteered to do it, and I kind of got roped in. So like it's going to be the 3rd season now that I'm helping. It's part of a project. I'm not part of the race team. I'm like what they consider being the extended team. So all of the R&D behind. We're not there at the racetrack during the day-to-day like operation of the race team, but we're helping like behind the scenes essentially.
Is that hard to not be part of the actual race team because your racing background and obviously like I want to see the suspension data?
It's so weird. It's so weird. I've had a few instances where I had to kind of run back, but it was really weird for people that didn't know me in the paddock, that knew that I wasn't part of the race team, and then like our VP of engineering who like sees me with a Suzuki shirt on or an AIM shirt on, like depending on the day basically, and they're like, what are you doing here? It's really weird. So now they're aware of it, that I work for a different team, but I have such a high stake in the game for the bagger engine that like I'm on my super sport team and really enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm looking over like, how's Kyle doing, like how is the team doing, is the engine holding up, like is everything going okay? So it's super cool to be involved in that at that level, because then I know that on Monday when I go back to the office, like that's the thing that I actually care about. So like this whole bagger development has been awesome, and we've all been through it, right? We've been growing through MotoAmerica for the last 4 years, and seeing baggers going from this exhibition race at Laguna. And I remember I was not working for Harley at that time, and I just saw them around Laguna. I was like, what the hell is this? The Hells Angels are showing up in the paddocks. Like, what the hell is this? And I remember just not liking it at all. And then I went to the corkscrew and saw them going down the corkscrew. I was like, okay, there's something there. And like the year after, it got better and better. And then I drank the Kool-Aid. And I signed the contract. I started working for the company. I'm like, this is the best thing ever now.
What's it like to see? I think a lot of people on the outside don't really see yet, and maybe because there's things coming or not, who knows, to see the development inside the company, being like part of the team that actually affects change on the future bikes.
It's
It
fun.
That's got to be crazy.
Yeah, it's really fun. There's a lot of things that we are learning on the race program because everything is super fast. So like we would go during the winter and just like develop the engine, but then during race rounds or after race rounds and during the season, between race rounds, would actually just iterate on the things. And there are things that are really interesting that we actually take and like try to apply on products for, just like years to come. Just failures that we learn. Like we all see failures on the racetrack, and so we're like, okay, like that's something that actually needs attention. And so that's a learning that we take with us for the rest. But as far as racing goes, it's really fun because we started with an engine that was production, and we've developed it to something that's really like it's the same displacement, but it's something that has a bunch of really cool parts on it. And it only took 2 years, really. I mean, if you're looking at it, it's been from like 2021 to where we are now, those baggers have really evolved. And that swing arm, man, it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of engineering that goes into it. And I think some people would hate me saying that, but we're probably better than what Superbike is doing at this point, just in level of like cost of R&D, level of engineering that goes into it. Like there is just so much going on. If MotoAmerica was not essentially maintaining, like, I want to say just keeping us on track with development, like we'd probably already have traction control. Like there's so many things that are not allowed just to keep the budget in a somewhat reasonable manner. I mean, it's not like there's nothing reasonable about baggers, but like MotoAmerica is really trying to like keep it in line.
Yeah.
But if we didn't have that, like would have the same take
Well,
as like. I mean, when are winglets gonna appear on baggers,
I
right?
mean,
Like,
you got two
Just
factories
airplane
going.
wings hanging off the back.
Yeah.
You got two factories going head to head. It's just bound to happen. I mean, and it's something that's continuing to just grow. I mean, the MotoGP of baggers is what they are, and the thing is you need two factories pushing it forward and then develop to fall through because it would just take a lot less, you know.
Was there anything surprising to you coming into Harley with your other backgrounds and even just coming from like you had sport bike data analysis stuff going on before you went to Harley? Was there anything like kind of surprising that you were like was intriguing or interesting that they hadn't really figured out yet that they have learned since doing bagger stuff that you already kind of were privy to because you had some experience?
like the whole data analysis thing, like onboard data, is something that we have for calibration, but it's not something that's as well packaged as like the AIM stuff. So we have a bunch of data analysis system, but it's time based. So you just like start your recorder and then you get data for 5 minutes and then you just look at that. They didn't have like stuff that was GPS based where you can just go around the track and actually like superpose data on top of that. And so Harley actually has AIM data, which is kind of cool because I've been able to help them with that. It's actually the only conflict of interest that I have is I can't sell AIM stuff to Harley. It's too bad because I could have made a lot of money. I can't do that. But it's been cool to like help them and see like just how much money they're spending on all of the data system. It's awesome. Like all of the like we have bigger screens because there's more space. Like we can fit a lot more sensors because there's just actually a lot of space for that. So for testing, it's been really cool. But no, like honestly, the one thing that surprised me about Harley was coming from sport bikes. I was like, I don't really like Harleys. Like it's not my thing. But I like motorcycles and I like R&D, and I can't really do motorcycle R&D in the U.S. unless I go to Harley, basically, or Indian. But it's different.
Yeah.
And I got to my team, and I was kind of expecting like middle-aged white guys riding cruisers. Like Harley's the best thing ever. Dude, in my team, we have like everybody rides something, but like we have an old flat track guy who was like doing nationals like in the 80s. We have like guys that are doing trail riding. We have guys that are like racing snowmobiles. It's like everything. Like there's a guy who's like drifting cars in the Screaming Eagle team. There's like everybody is coming from a passion for power sports in general, or like a passion for riding or racing. And it's not just Harleys. It's like we just love motorcycles. We like to be outside. We like the adventures. We like the outdoors. We just like we want competition. And so I was really not expecting that. And so there is actually a lot of technology on those engines, but at the same time we have to respect the will of the customer. So we have to package a lot of really good technology in an engine that still looks pretty traditional. And that's been really, really interesting. It's like, how do you make a pushrod engine actually perform really well? And like that, I wasn't expecting that this was going to be a challenge. I was like, yeah, I'm coming from like natural gas engines with pre-chambers and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's going to be easy. And you just have like two gigantic cylinders that are pumping air, and you have like one manifold, and you're like, okay, how is the air talking? Like, how is there any like cross dynamics between the two cylinders? And it's actually really, really complex. And so it's been an interesting journey, like just going into like coming from gigantic engines to like those like small but mighty engines, or like actually big engines still in comparison. I mean, they're huge motorcycle engines. So it's cool. And we're really pushing them with racing. So we're learning a ton.
No, it seems like, I mean, it's cool. I think it's interesting to see what it'll do for Harley from a commercial standpoint. I think that's probably, people just think it's like, oh, they just want to be Indian and win championships or whatever the case is. But I think I would have to think it's more of a development thing, actually, more than anything, and trying to figure out how to modernize, I guess, a little bit, which people I think have like Harley has a little bit of a bad rap in terms of just being like stuck in the past. Do you feel like that's kind of true when you're actually at work type of thing, or it's just more just staying true to, like you're saying, kind of staying true to the heritage?
No, it's like the outside of the engine is the heritage, but like a lot of the things that we're designing are just like it's very science based. It's very model based. No, it's like we have a lot of all the new technologies that you will see on an R1 engine. It's just it just doesn't look that way because it's a big V twin, right? But we have the same technology, and it's I would say as far as like the engine operates, it's probably more advanced than like an R7.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, the development has come so far, and it's if you go and ride a new Road Glide now, they're so good. Like if I dare anybody to go and just test ride one at a dealership, you'll be so surprised, and you go, "Oh, that thing's heavy. It's big, blah blah blah," and it's just not. They're like super nimble motorcycles, and the weight balance and the way that they perform is so good. I wasn't a real big believer until I got on the road and
Until I
rode
signed
one.
that factory contract.
No,
This
2000.
this podcast isn't sponsored by Harley-Davidson.
No, in 2020, I actually rode a Road Glide for the first time. Shout out Eagle Rider, and and I was blown away. I was blown away at how good the bike was. Like,
What's your favorite Harley?
I have not ridden a Road Glide yet, but I really like the Lowrider ST.
we're gonna have to cut that out.
We have a what we call a take home fleet. So we have a bunch of motorcycles. Like from April to October, we can just take those bikes home.
That's cool.
But Josh does not have. He's a contractor and doesn't have that same right. So it's just.
So he has
with
to
Just
the
ride
ride
on the
back.
back.
No, he's not even allowed to do that. He's not even allowed to do that. But that would be really funny.
funny.
Just picture that. You'd be like so high. That'd be
I
funny.
like
just like-
we had a breakout. You know what a
Yeah.
breakout is? Yeah, well, do your research, dude.
Okay.
oh my god, you're so
Don't to me, dude.
I like the breakout though. We had one come into the dealership like a couple years ago. It was like all tricked out. The guy had bags on it, right? Those are the ones that they just sit on the frame. It was pretty sick.
Yeah, I like that
Who,
platform,
John?
like the whole Softail platform.
No, John's got a chopper with a 26-inch front wheel, chromed out.
I love
You should
it,
ride
too.
one. Just like come over and we'll make you ride one. They're really
so
fun.
funny.
We had an eval ride at Blackhawk, so we just rented Blackhawk and invited a bunch of the engineers that were working on certain projects, and everybody was taking like the new bike and then the current bike, and we were doing back-to-back comparison. So each bike we took, we did 3 laps of Blackhawk with it. So I mean we had like 12 different bikes that we
That's
were trying.
cool.
So we had so many laps around Blackhawk, and it was funny because we were supposed to do slow, mid pace, and then faster. But then everybody got more comfortable, so we were just sending it and like dragging food bags or like floorboards. But it's like at the end of that day, I was like, dude, I actually can see myself buying a Harley in the future because like that torque is so cool. Like you just hit the throttle and it's just this big rumbling of an engine, and it's all about the experience. And if you're riding on the street, it's actually pretty fun. I mean, take an R1. I have an R6. Like I don't even ride it on the street. I hate it. But yeah, I could see having like a comfy bike that looks kind of cool. Just like
Would you have
listen to my
flames on
pals.
it?
Oh man, I don't know. No, probably some glitter and like a couple skulls on it.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Knees in the breeze, brother.
The breeze.
Would you have a skull cap?
No, I'd have a full face helmet
And some chaps.
and some chains.
What's the what are the
The
Oh, I know.
tassels.
I'll take my
Tassels.
cowboy boots from Iowa
There you go.
and then just ride that.
That's so
My
funny.
other rides are Cummins.
Stop.
Like, we should try to be sponsored by every big company that I worked for. That'd be fun.
Yeah. No, that's cool. You've worked for all the staple American brands.
Yeah,
so
I know.
far.
So far.
John Deere,
Yeah.
Cummins, and Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
So-
Harley's pretty sweet.
What's been like the hardest thing about America? Like you've come over. What's the hardest thing?
The food.
Yeah.
The food is
Really?
horrible.
What?
Yeah.
Crepes or pancakes?
Ooh.
Crap.
But is a crepe like? Isn't it just a really thin pancake?
It's very, very thin. Pancake. I'm gonna break your arm. Come from Formula.
Did you watch Garrett Gerloff's recent video?
It was so good. I didn't see the full video. I actually saw some clips of it. I really need to watch the full video.
The first 5
You
minutes.
did,
are
it's really just the
hysterical.
first 5 minutes.
Okay.
It's so good.
I saw a few clips of it. It was so fun.
He's
That's so
actually an
fun.
actor.
I think and his southern accents actually,
he's so
when he puts
good.
it on, it sounds good.
And Loris Paz is so perfect for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, he is.
like the perfect French villain. It's fun. Like it's too bad they're not going to be in the same team anymore because they're a really good pairing.
Yeah.
That was really
Yeah.
fun.
So you also work for another team at MotoAmerica races only,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so that who's that team? So John Orch gets this.
Vision Wheel and Forks
We'll
are
send you the bill.
Suzuki.
So what do you do for them?
So I am the data engineer for the Super Sport program.
All of the super sport guys. So
Yes. Yeah.
is
So
that-
right now, this season was 2 bikes. I don't really know about next season yet. Tyler Scott is returning. We don't really know about the rest. Like everything is going to be figured out.
But you have 2 riders last year. T Cobbs is the second one.
T Gobs was the second one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they all have their crew chief and their mechanics, and I'm doing data for both. So the Super Sport program has been really cool. I mean, there has been, I feel like, a resurgence of Super Sport
Definitely.
in the world. So in order to have more manufacturers, they've opened the class to the V2, Ducati V2, the GSXR 750. I mean the Aprilia, no, not the Aprilia. Sorry, the MV Agusta is in it. Like, and they're not 600s, right? They're bigger bikes, but they're all using the spec ECU, same ECU for everybody. It's a Medtronic ECU, and like those have maps in it that restrict the throttle, so that like they're all about outputting the same, like around the same horsepower. And so it's been really interesting to see more manufacturers in the paddock, like bigger teams coming, like HSBK coming and fielding a super sport bike. That was really cool. And I feel like the level of competition has gone up. And it's been really fun for me because it's a cool introduction of electronics without being overwhelming like Superbike. So it's a really cool step from what I was doing in twins, because I did like a couple rounds in Junior Cup, then did twins, then that was Super Sport.
Yeah, you've gone to the top pretty quick. I mean, you're
Not
in
the
a
top
you're-
yet.
yeah, but you're in a superbike team,
Yeah,
you know, per se, and then 3 years.
yeah,
right?
about that. Yeah, really 3 years.
So what's it like? How different is it, right? Because you were in the Robin team,
Yeah,
right,
Robinson
for
last year.
twins, and mainly just going over data. I don't know how much you can do on those on the whatever the Aprilias
The
are.
RS660. We couldn't. It was really more rider development and suspension.
Okay.
So we had a suspension person that was really working on that and could read data. So it was really like working with the riders, comparing the riders, like looking at throttle and brake inputs, and really just like making sure that they were riding the bike to the best of its ability. But there was really no work on the engine. And although I come from data, I understand data, I really come from like an engine perspective. So like this year, actually having throttle maps and being able to tune engine braking, like that's more the core of what I've been like professionally doing at Harley-Davidson and like all of these other companies. So it's been really cool this year to finally just use my engine knowledge and start like tuning motorcycles, to some extent tuning motorcycles, because we don't really have a lot of freedom. But
So you're on the GSXR 750. I mean, they've essentially put fly-by-wire on that motorcycle, which is not an easy task. I mean, it's easier now in 2023, but it's not an easy task making it all work. And we've seen, in past, that's a hard thing to do. Has that been a big challenge for the 750? And
Could you also explain what fly-by-wire is for some people? Because
that's
Yeah.
good.
I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't actually know what that
Like
is.
I actually don't know
fly-by-wire.
what it is.
Really?
But I mean, I don't know the technical term. I know what it does.
You just fly by the
it's
wire.
yeah, exactly. It's like fly-by-wire, drive-by-wire, electronic
Open the
throttle.
blades.
They all have different ways of working, but essentially it's like you twist the grip and then it's not directly connected to the throttle plates.
It's an electronic.
So it's electronic. So there's going to be either a motor in between, or like you can have on the Harleys, it's a fully electronic throttle. There's no cable. On those bikes, there's a cable, but it's like there's a motor in between. So essentially you decouple what the twist grip, or like what your hand is doing, versus what the engine is actually doing. And you can tune that. You can really like smooth the response, where you could potentially like go super hardcore on the gas and like you ask for 50% and like I control it and I only give you like 10% of opening. So that helps us manage the response of the engine, the response of the bike, and like that allows us to make different modes, which is really cool. Like we can have rain mode, we can have like a really like quick response, for example, and it also allows you to cap the engine. So our bikes are limited to 82% throttle, and that's to cap the 750 to make it to make it at the same level as the R6. So the R6 is the benchmark for the whole super sport class.
Okay.
And the Panigale, not Panigale, sorry, the V2, the MV Agusta, and all of the other bikes like are all tuned and limited in throttle for like to meet the level of the R6.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
And then so how has that been working with two young riders? I mean, probably. I mean, you've worked with Teague before,
Yeah.
so that's probably good. But working with Tyler Scott, he's come up really fast, super talented kid. How's it been working as kind of in the middle and helping both of them, but now having kind of control in some respects over the maps and that? I mean, that's got to put a little pressure on yourself, maybe.
It's been really interesting. The two riders are very different. They don't like their bikes set up the same way. And so like I come at the problem like, okay, I understand engines, this is how I can deliver the most power, but I had to tailor everything to the rider that I was working with. They've both all like they've been really good. Like they've really stepped in the super sport class. Tyler had been there for about a year. He did a full season. Had won, I think, one race last year, and like had a bunch of podiums. But like he really stepped into like the role of like, you know, I'm the second year rider. Like I'm really gonna murder the class, and he really did at the end of the season, winning I think 4 races, and I think he's had 10 podiums.
Yeah.
And we've seen him grow like this. He started the season with a new crew chief. So Jeremy Toy is his crew chief this year, or was his crew chief this year. So new crew chief coming into the class for the second year. Like he has more pressure, obviously, and like something clicked around. I want to say like around Brainerd or a little bit before Brainerd. Something clicked, and like he started winning races. And I think it's just we got the bike dialed in, but we also got the dialogue. It's really, I mean, even though we have data, the dialogue with the crew chief, like understanding what the feedback actually means and trying to really convey that is quite tough, and you know that, right? And I think we really found something that really clicked. And then same thing for Teague. I think he had his first podium in rookie season in Supersport. He had his first podium, I think a double podium at Ridge. And same thing, like he really wanted to prove something. We really got the team to gel, and like I was able to give him a bike that was okay for him, because the Ridge is not really easy to tune a bike for. And yeah, like something started clicking. So I think he had like a few podiums throughout the season, like 3 or 4.
He impressed me at a few races this year where, I mean, I think the best thing for his career was that he moved up. He kind of got stuck in the Twins a little bit, where he was like a podium guy or he could win, and then he just kind of got stuck. And as soon as he jumped up, it was like Daytona 200. We saw him in the lead pack, and I mean, that must have been gave him so much confidence. Now, for people, you're working with the crew chief, right? Right? So say Jeremy Toy is, hey, this is what we're going to do. Jeremy's got a lot of experience himself. And going back to Tyler, there wasn't really anything besides just everything clicked mid-season. There wasn't really any big change that happened, because it was he made a pretty big jump.
It was there was like a technical side on the chassis side where they figured out that they were going one direction, and they actually found out that like actually going back the other way was the way to go. And that was all chassis, like kind of out of my hands, right?
Yeah.
But I think it was mostly a mindset change. And Tyler has not crashed a single time this year. Not even at Loudon, where we had 10 different restarts. Because we also did that race, and it was a rain race, and like insane number of restarts and red flags. He didn't crash the entire season. So honestly, he's got more in the tank. Like
Yeah.
this kid is really really impressive, and both of them, Teague and Tyler, have a really crazy work ethic. So it's been really awesome to just, you know, they come back from like their session, their race, even though it might not have gone the way they wanted. Like they'll sit down, they'll take a track map, they'll really like put down all of their thoughts on that. Then they just go cool off and they come back and they give like really good feedback. It's been like a very good, I want to say like professional process, and it's very well structured. So the riders talk to the crew chiefs. The crew chief like pretty much translate the information because they kind
you.
of go through the bullshit, and
Yeah.
they like I will have Jeremy be like, okay, did you pull the data? Okay, let's look at the data. So he said this, he said that. He wants more engine braking, but like I think it might be something else. And so I process the data, I give everything to Jeremy because he can actually look at data really well. And then like I look at it on my own. I'm like, okay, like we compare notes, and then I'm like, okay, maybe we can just like change the gearing here. Like he's hitting the rev limiter, and we make our decisions on gearing once we have that set. We're like working on our suspensions, and then it's always engine braking, and engine braking is going to be different on basically all the tracks. We're
Yeah.
really tailoring it for like the best corner, and I think I've been changing engine braking at every single track we've been to, and these are the two main levers we have: are engine braking and ETV maps.
Yeah. ETV stands for?
Electronic throttle valve. So
Okay.
the drive by wire
Okay.
tuning. But I've been extremely impressed. Like Tyler is he's going to turn 18 soon, and I think Teague is 20 or 21. I mean, they're really young.
Yeah. That's insane. And is it your dream to move into the superbike?
I think eventually, yeah. But I've been, like you mentioned, I've been growing really, really fast.
Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying the process now. So
Yeah.
I just re-signed with Team Hammer for another 2 years. So I signed a 2-year contract.
Multi-year. Are you kidding me? Freaking John,
Yeah, I know, you're
dude.
special.
What are you gonna do if Factory Harley wants you? They get a clause in there or no?
I'm gonna ask for more money.
As you should. As you should.
It's been fun. I wear a lot of hats, but I gotta say, just having Harley being my day-to-day job and being something where I can focus on like behind the scenes and like not having to deal with that at the racetrack. I love it. It's a passion project. It's like I have this really cool job, but I like that when I go to a race weekend, it's different. It's still sports bikes. It's still I'm helping younger racers move up, and like my performance review at the end of the year like is not based on how I behave at the racetrack.
Okay.
So I mean, Team Hammer, we're just like we have like a really good atmosphere. We just we open a beer at the end of the day. Like it's very chill. It's very cool. I like that. I like to separate the two. And what I've been doing in the paddocks, like building my own brand has really been like, it's been interesting because my growth is only the opportunities that people have given me, but it's also what I've done with it. And so I've been able to control that. It's not like a corporate job where I got to apply for promotions, or I got to like wait to get a promotion.
Yeah.
It's like I can get something right away because I've really worked hard for it, because I've promoted myself, because I've done the work. Like I don't have to go through like a hierarchy of managers and all that. So like, I mean, honestly, it's been really cool to have Chris and John Ulrich like find me and offering me this opportunity. So yeah, I think I'm gonna try to stay in super sport for the next 2 years, and then like learn from the superbike team that we have, and then eventually try to move up. Like we'll see.
And is that
Be
something
cool.
that's like, is there, how do I say it? Like if you're in riders, you're trying to be your teammate. Like it doesn't quite work like that, but you've got some good engineers. I know Ben Fox, he's a pretty smart guy. Can you see their data, or is that pretty locked up? Like, are you able to look at it and kind of learn from some of the different things? I don't know if you need to learn. I don't know, but
Yeah, we can. I've sat down with them, and like sometimes we're in a rut, or when we are in a rut, like Ben is gonna come and like help us. Just
yeah,
it's really good to have another set of eyes. We have the two super bikes. Each super bike has their own basically crew chief and data engineer. So they're also comparing notes. They're learning about the track. We're all comparing notes on like how the tire is behaving, like what compounds they're going to use. So it's been really cool. It's honestly so busy during a weekend. There's so much to do that it feels like it's really two teams operating under the same. But under the same garage or same tent, but we do have the opportunity to just go over and
Very cool.
I think Laguna we had an extended race, so we were not doing anything on Sunday. So I was able to just go and just like ask questions. It's fun. Like it's definitely a step above, a big step above from what we're doing.
Have you gotten any opportunities elsewhere, like outside of motorcycle racing, car racing, that kind of stuff?
It seems like there are quite a bit of opportunities in drag racing. There's a lot more money in drag racing. There's a lot of money in cars, but I think I'm still trying to stay focused on motorcycles. There are like I've had opportunities with AIM to just tag along at other events. We're all going to PRI, the Performance Racing Industry Show in Indy in December. So like all of the different, so we have AIM has maybe 10, 12 employees, like full-time employees that do also cover racetracks for different race series. Like everybody has their own kind of like special race series. So some guys are going to do IMSA, other guys are going to do like the go-kart stuff. Some guys are going to do more of the off-roads. I'm like a contractor with AIM, so I'm doing the motorcycle stuff. But there are other people like me who are not like full-time AIM employees, but they have their little niche and they're helping as well. So everybody is going to PRI, and it's like this really cool trade show where like everybody gets to meet each other, and like we're talking about like how the different race series are, and so like opportunities kind of
Super
arise
cool.
from that. Yeah.
What do you think in terms of, I know personally because of having run teams, how difficult it is to find engineers. Do you feel that there's a shortage of that in the U.S., or is it mostly just because there's not a lot of money in motorcycle racing?
I think it's because there's not a lot of money in motorcycle racing. I think we can do, like, honestly, the baggers are a really good thing for that because it's bringing people from, like, Vincent Hines from SNS, like people that are engineers in, like, performance companies or shops. There are a lot of people that do what I do at Harley. But the thing is trying to convince them to take their time off and do it. The problem is if you were to do IndyCar, you're a full-time employee of like GM or Ilmore or like, and those guys are contracted to go to the racetrack to support the teams as engineers, and everybody who works in a team in IndyCar is a full-time employee of that. Like same thing in MotoGP. The problem with MotoAmerica is we only have 10 rounds. You can't really make a living out of just 10 rounds. So it has to be like a passion project. And not everybody has the flexibility that we have. So at Harley, we are in hybrid mode since COVID. So we can work from home whenever we want or whenever like it makes sense. So during the season, I have a really, really awesome manager that's like, as long as your job is done, like you can do whatever you want. So I get to travel. It's a lot of work. Like I'm working when we're traveling. Sometimes I have to take a call when I'm at the racetrack, but I get to do both, which is really cool. That wasn't available before COVID. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So I think with this more like hybrid workforce, maybe you can poach engineers from different companies and be like, hey, just like come try that. I've been trying to talk people into it. But it has to be serious, and it has to be. I mean, we all come from a corporate environment. We know what it is to respect a contract, have NDAs, all of that, and it's not always like that in the paddock. Like, it's not always as like structured, but it's growing. I think it's getting better and better.
Yeah, that was my next question. Was like, is this something if you didn't have the day-to-day of a full-time job, would you actually be able to do what you're doing? Which it sounds like the answer is probably not.
Probably no. I think I'd have to ramp it up and probably just like dab into cars or like come here very often. Which I mean,
maybe
it's
do
possible,
a lot of
like,
track days and stuff, and really grow that out and be what's it? The unicorn. Just put it out there.
The
That's the brand.
Is that what your brand is called?
Unicornium.
Unicornium.
Yeah, Unicornium Engineering. There was wine involved. Yeah, I mean, I got that LLC. I do support. I can do like Zoom meetings where I just review somebody's data and we go over it. But I don't know. I've never really had my own company and done that 100%. So I don't know if it's something that would be sustainable.
Yeah,
it could. It very much could.
Well, I think most like every year, more and more people just know who you are.
Yeah.
Right. So it just, I think, spirals.
I'm gonna be famous after that.
Yeah.
Like, it's
after
crazy.
this podcast,
Are you
million
kidding?
views,
just gonna
right?
blow up.
Easy. This is huge.
Yeah.
What about obviously there's not a ton of females in general in MotoAmerica. I think you, Melissa Paris, I don't know how many others work on a team level. Do you think that, have you felt the difference, or have you felt like there's any stigma around that? You being a girl coming into a team that's mostly dominated by men.
The first season was hilarious. So the very first season, nobody knew me. I was just working for privateers, and like I remember just like going into conversations where people were talking about how they were building their engines, how they were tuning them, and just kind of like having those like kind of pissing context about what they were doing, and it was just like I would just drop in the conversation, and like I guess I was looking completely unassuming, like people didn't know what I understood, and so that was really fun. So it's not so much the stigma; it's just they didn't like they would see me and be like, oh, she's probably somebody's girlfriend. People don't do that around me anymore. It's kind of too bad. I wish I could go to India and just like they would start spilling secrets.
It's the imposter.
I haven't been able to like be a spy like that. Even at Vincent Hines, that we had a track day at NCM, and I started just like looking at the bikes and just like asking a couple questions, and the guy was like, "Hey, I know who you are."
Hey,
Like, oh crap.
hey.
Do you think you guys have spies yet?
Us?
Is it got like that? Yeah, where it's like GP, where you guys have a guy just sitting across the track just taking pictures.
I think they do. Or
Everybody's
do now.
got that. I don't think we have that, but like everybody pays attention.
You have
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
Yeah.
of
There's, I mean, you put something on a bike and what's Teague's walking over? What is this?
Yeah,
It's nothing,
everybody's like,
man.
and the thing
Yeah,
is,
right.
Yeah.
there's so many social media posts. Like the bikes are out there, so you can see. And like you guys, when you guys had the Vincent Heiss team had the whole shot device.
Dude, greatest
Like,
thing ever.
it was awesome.
I'm
It's
so
so-
bummed that I didn't even get a real start on it. It was like
They outrolled it right away.
so we did one start was at
Uh-huh.
Road America, right?
Yeah, it was Road America.
But the
yeah.
problem is I got nervous because my practice start, when I locked it down, I just lit the rear up. So I got nervous to try it in the
Qualifying.
challenge,
Oh, yeah.
and then it rained, I believe, or it was going to rain. It rained in that, and then it did. I don't know actually
I
what
don't
happened.
remember either. But
Anyways, but I didn't get to try it in a race, and then it got outlawed.
why did they outlaw it? What did they say it was?
Well, pretty much they just didn't want it on there. Even though Vance and Hines, credit to them, said they would sell it to every single team for like under $300. Yeah, they were like, and it was it was Josh, great guy. This guy designed this thing. It was so good. It was the easiest thing in the world. Literally, you hit this button, piece goes out, put the brake on, goes down, it locks. I'm like every superbike should use it. Like it would go. They would sell them to every person in the paddock, like overnight. I thought it was awesome.
That's a
Like,
really
when
good
we-
example of like bagger development. People are just like going above and beyond, just like trying to find every single little
And that's the
advantage.
one thing of Vance and Hines is that, they were such a small team. They could pivot. They're not the Titanic, they're just a little pirate boat out there. Just, I'm the captain now.
Now you're on a cruise ship. So
Yeah.
cruise ship. So it's
Yeah.
awesome.
It'd take a
Disney
little while to turn
extra.
that thing around.
Yeah. Yep.
That's really cool though. I mean, I think it's a unique thing that you're able to make such quick strides, and also be able to work for a team like M4, and it kind of gives you a little bit of I don't know, credibility, I guess, if you will,
Yeah.
for not having been around for so long. And motorcycle racing in general, I think, is like a good old boys type of sport where it's like, you really have to break through to get people's trust for them to bring you into their circle, especially with a team like M4, who's been around for so long. So
They're probably the longest standing team currently.
I think
yeah,
they
no,
have
They've got to
definitely,
be.
for
43
sure.
years.
Good number.
Yeah. 43
But
years.
I mean, it is true though, because you just hear the same names.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Man, I don't get a crew chief this year. It's the same people.
Yeah.
Right? We did it last year.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know who we're gonna do. And it's like
Yeah.
it's the same 5, 6, 7 people that you're like, I've maybe worked with them or I've heard great things or this, and it's pretty hard. I would say as a rider, it's pretty hard to take a shot on somebody new that you don't know because we especially in America, everybody's living 1 year. You know, like almost everybody is living 1 year at a time, and you're really living 6 months. Like if it's in 6 months, you're not doing the job, dude. You're brown bread. See you later.
I like brown bread.
Dude,
What's wrong with brown bread?
so it's English term is Cockney. That's what they call it.
Okay.
So they like rhyme on words.
You're right.
Are you? That tea got you?
Spiked. My water is spiked.
Yeah, it is.
That's funny. That's actually hilarious.
No, it is true though, but it's also hard, and you can probably speak more to this, but you know, for people to find one, you have to be good because nobody wants somebody that sucks. 2, you have to be able to work on the weekends and usually have another job that lets you take Thursday and Friday off because we all can't pay you enough to
And
be a
Monday.
full-time employee. And Monday, yeah.
Normally the pay is not what anyone deserves.
Yeah, and so the prerequisites are pretty high. How do you suggest people go out and find more people like you? Are there more people like you out there?
No, there are a lot more people. My suggestion is always like, if you can start people young, there's a lot of people that are going to engineering school that like motorcycles. I mean, get people to start when they're in college, and just like if they go club racing, I mean, you have to ride. I think you have to ride. You have to correlate that feel of what the bike does with the data, even though like I'm not fast enough to trigger all of the traction control limits and in my wheelie control and everything, but like I understand like throttle response. So starting club racing, and then like maybe hire those kids, like those young engineers that ride at the same time, that like foster that. Like I think it seems like we have an age gap in the paddock. Like you have people like Stromboli and the whole attack team where it seems like you have to be 50
Did you
years
say
old or above.
Rispoli? Is that what you said?
I said Stromboli.
Oh, I thought you said Rispoli.
Maybe
I thought you said
Rispoli?
Stromboli.
I thought you said Rispoli.
Yeah, Rispoli, 50 years old, you know?
It's Rispoli.
No, but like the whole attack team, it seems like they're 50 and above. Like they really don't have a lot of young up and comer there. So it seems like you have this kind of this generation of like 50 years old, and then a few young people like our age. And there's not that much in the middle. And I think we really need to like bridge that gap.
Yeah.
So like, what do? Like just try to get new people, foster them, train them, you know?
It'd be really cool if they would do like I don't know, like in Wisconsin, if there was that school that they could come to MotoAmerica and have some of their top young kids or just anybody that like bikes or something, and to be able to come and oversee some data for the day.
You know
to
what?
see if they get the bug.
Have you ever heard of Formula SAE?
What?
Formula SAE. So
S-
Yeah.
it's a
A?
program. SAE. SAE is the Society of Automotive Engineers. It's a club, like it's something extracurricular activity you can do in college.
What?
Extracurricular. After school,
Is
whatever.
that like capitalism?
Yeah, it's so hard to say. I can say it.
What? What is it?
Capitalism.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That was
It's
pretty
so
good.
hard. Yeah, I've been practicing it a lot.
That's what Josh said.
You put me on the spot.
Hey.
Like no, Formula SAE is like this club where students build a car, like a race car, and so they usually
Okay.
take like it's a CBR 600 engine most of the time, Motec ECU, and so they're doing the whole thing. Like they're building the engine, they're setting up the car, they're building the chassis, all the body work and everything, and like data system on it and everything. So you've got a lot of engineers, like student engineers, that are growing through the ranks and doing that, and they're using it to get a job at like all the big three in Detroit, you know. But they could also, like, if we were to tell them, hey, you can do this job on the weekend, you're a student, you have time, we're gonna pay you like whatever, some like a starting wage, like those kids could actually be really, really good just doing data engineering, especially if they ride themselves.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, look at who's Gerloff's guy, the ginger kid. Who's I mean, he's super young.
Andy Levers.
Yeah, I mean, he came from in
He
BSB.
raced in BSB, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, and he was so young.
He's
but Europe
still
is
super
different.
young.
They have schools for that. Like they have schools for motorcycle engineering in Europe.
No, I understand, but like, it's good to see, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
good
yeah.
to see. Like,
Why do you think that's different than just because there's so much more racing in Europe?
Dude, bikes are just, that's it.
There's a culture in Europe. There's a huge culture for motorcycles. It's been there forever. I mean, look at the number of motorcycle companies that there are. So Italy has a really good program. There's a school in Wales. Wales. It's called University of Trinidad something. They have a bachelor of motorcycle engineering and a master's of motorcycle engineering.
Wow.
And I know 2 of their engineers were at American Racing. They're now gone.
Where'd they go?
One left mid-season and went to work for BMW Motorrad, and he's supporting World Superbike.
That's cool.
The other one I think is going to KTM. They have 2 other guys at KTM. They're all in Moto2 for some reason, but they have those guys like in the MotoGP paddock. There's like basically a bridge between that school and MotoGP.
That's really cool. I feel like MotoGP engineers have like, it's grown quite a lot, and they've been stealing a ton from Formula One and all these other series, and just engineers in period, not just. I feel like it's becoming a thing. Just, I guess with everything becoming so data intensive, you know, and everything becoming more plug and play. Do you see? I guess this is a pretty interesting question. Do you see AIM or another manufacturer implementing data stock? Like having a motorcycle come out with data on it?
It's done already.
Okay.
So Kramer,
Okay.
the Kramers come stock with AIM Dash. The RC8C, the KTM RC8C, comes stock with an AIM Dash, full data and everything.
The Ducatis come with DDA, they call it.
The Ducati comes with DDA. The R1 comes with the YCC something. It's
it's
actually
like
pretty cool. It's an app like through your phone. You can get all the data.
Is that like suspension pots and stuff?
You can add pots, I think, to the Ducati one.
You can
Okay.
add
Okay.
BMWs. I think have stuff.
All right. So
they
Yeah,
do.
like
forget that I asked.
no, it's good to know. So somebody came up earlier today, and he wanted to set up so AIM has something called the Smarty Cam. It looks like a GoPro kind of, but you can do data overlay. So you connect it to the dash or whatever data acquisition system you have, and like you can overlay brake pressure, lean angle, RPM like on the video. So
That's
it looks
really
like
cool.
looks like a video game, but it's super cool because like sometimes you don't know like why you're rolling off the gas. Is it because you're a wuss in the corner, or is it because you actually have traffic, or like is there something there? So we set it up, and the bike came with we call it the MXM dash. It's one of the dashes that AIM makes, and like the whole thing had like the Kramer logo engraved and everything. So he just essentially bought the camera, and it was pretty much plug and play. It took me like 5 minutes basically to set it up.
That's cool.
So it's coming. When I started in Junior Cup in 2020, I kind of hopped in like at the end of the season. I did 3 rounds. So I did the Indy round and like Barber, Indy, and Laguna. Like they were not allowed to have data loggers. They were not allowed to have data loggers connected to their ECU. So they could do like the very simple AIM logger. The next year they were allowed to have data systems. And then Twins, the same thing. Like they started with like simple data logger, and then like the next year they were allowed to have potentiometers and everything. And then the next year after that, they were allowed to have like full on Motec ECU, like that over 3 years. And like, I don't think I pushed that at all, but it seems like it grew. Like I probably just came up at the right time.
Yeah.
Baggers, like the very first year, baggers were not allowed to have any data.
Yeah.
Year after, they're like, all right, brake pressure you can,
Yeah.
potentiometer you can.
Well, I know when they're fighting for more stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's been an ongoing thing, you know. And it makes it tough because the more data you have on, the more people you need, or the more expensive person you need to have run it. So it's that never-ending battle. But I feel like the bikes come so good stock now that it's probably your first person to get if you were going to be racing. But so I guess this will bring us right into our Law Tigers tech tip. Big pivot there. Everybody, if Law Tigers is our sponsor, please call Law Tigers at 1-800 and Corey hit it.
Law Tigers are America's motorcycle lawyers. A motorcycle accident isn't something you ever expect to have happen, but it does. It's
I'm
so funny,
sorry.
dude.
I just love the way you do this, dude. I love it. All right,
If you
keep going.
do-
Keep going.
If you do happen to need legal advice, call our friends over at Law Tigers. If you or someone you know has ever been injured in a motorcycle accident, services are of no cost to riders, and they fight to get us riders taken care of and back out on the road. With Law Tigers, you never ride alone.
True. It's going to happen. So call 911, then call Law Tigers.
1-800 Law Tigers.
There you go.
Give them a ring.
Okay. Back to it.
What's your tip?
What's my tip? Buy an M Solo 2 DL for your bike.
Plug. But
Exactly.
Well-
But like honestly, and don't buy a Mac. You have to have a PC.
oh
But
no.
everything else is free.
Okay.
And the software is free. It's awesome.
So, but for what would you say, as just expanding on this, for a track day person getting into it and they do get, say, the aim dash or whatever that does it, what would you say the first thing or the first 2-3 things that they should be looking at, or what is the most important thing for somebody just starting out, and how do you get better quick using data?
Like the very first thing really is going to be your position around the track and like your GPS speed. So even if you have just that information, you can compare lap to lap. So you can see like where your corner speed is getting better, like how fast you're accelerating. You can see your top speed. You can see your braking points because you see like where the speed is decreasing. That's like the number one thing. And any lap timers or any GPS based lap timer is going to give you that, which is awesome. Then the next thing you want is going to be, once you're more familiar with like comparing laps, you really want to have your throttle position, like your grip position, and then brake pressure, because that way you can see like really what you're doing and the inputs you're putting in the bike. Like something that helps me a ton is just like the speed at which I'm transitioning, like off the gas directly on the brakes. Like you want that to be a straight line down, and most of the time when like you don't really know what you're doing, you realize that you're really actually really slow in your inputs. Like you're gonna roll off the gas easy, and then you're gonna grab the brakes, and just like having full awareness of what you're doing. It's like those are like super easy, low hanging fruits that you can pick up and just like pick up seconds. Really, I mean, at the club racing level, it's pretty easy. So those essentially 4 things:
Okay.
position around the track, speed around the track, throttle position, and brakes. And you can get that with Solo 2DL.
Okay.
Because now we have it's a little plug. There is a new product that AIM just launched like a couple months ago. It's called the ACC for analog to CAN converter, and it's a little box where you can plug sensors into the Solo 2DL. So Solo 2DL is this big. It was initially just GPS data and ECU data, and now you can add sensors to it. So, I mean, it's probably the most affordable data system you can ever get, comparatively with other brands.
Okay.
What would be the 3 big sensors you suggest people get? Obviously, ECU stuff for your throttle and whatnot, but then
brake pressure sensor, and then front potentiometer and rear potentiometer. So it tells you like how the bike is actually moving.
That's pretty much like all you need.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that you could essentially go MotoAmerica with that.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really need to know what the motor's doing a lot of the time. Like if
Yeah, people go to MotoAmerica with way less than that actually, and
it's true.
I mean and the fact that you can do it with just like the Solo 2DL that's like fits in your pocket, it's like so simple.
the fact that you made it so accessible too. I mean, I remember like for me, it was always Motec, Morelli, or it was that stuff you just could never get it, or it was the Yosh box. You know, like that's what we raced on. Like that's what we raced the Yosh box, or and then Graves always had Morelli.
Yeah.
And like on 600. So to make data super accessible, I think is a pretty cool thing. Moving quickly into, what do you think looking further out 5 years, I don't even know if you can look at this, but like what's the evolution look like? Like where are we going with data?
I think more and more people are just going to have it like de facto. They're going to go, either it's going to come with the bikes. We're going more and more towards spec ECUs, which is kind of interesting to me. So take Super Sport right now. Everybody has access to maps that we can tune like base maps and like throttle response. So I think it seems like we're gonna go more towards that because you can't go against electronics. More bikes have electronics. Look at the ZX4RR right now. The thing has auto blipper, quick shifter, anti-wheelie. It's a 400,
What?
but it's got the whole thing. It's got more electronics than the ZX6.
And the GSXR 1000.
Pretty much.
The bike's 20 years old. So.
Dude, it's crazy.
So I think we're getting to a point where everything is going to be customizable, and you're going to need to have those basic skills. You're going to have that understanding, and then take electric bikes, and that's another level. I mean, the new Stark bikes, they come with like a phone holder. You can put any phone on that, and then you can choose how much horsepower you want the bike to deliver. So
yeah,
you can have
thinking-
you can do like I think 90 horsepower, or you can have it like 40 horsepower.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is
Yeah.
crazy. What do you think about AI? You think that's going to get into data analysis and all that kind of stuff?
So we use it to some extent. I mean, AI is a very big word, but machine learning. So using sensors and applying physics concepts to spit out data. It's something that we already use. So it's actually a big part of my job, where we'll have the engine dyno to sweep the entire operating space of the engine. So we're going to move throttle and RPM, and then get data at different points. We're going to change spark timing. We're going to change like cam phasing if we have phasers, and then log like what the airflow is, what the temperatures are, what the torque value is, etc. And then we essentially take like those 2,000 points of data, and then we optimize it. So like in this region, I want best fuel economy. In this region, I want best power. And we build our spark maps like that. So it's already integrated, but the things that I think separates us from like us engineers from like a dyno tuner out there with the shop is we have access to sensors that read the cylinder pressure, and something you only see on engine dynos. I read a paper not too long ago that says that Formula One is using that on board. So if you know the cylinder pressure and you know like you basically know everything about the behavior of your combustion, like a lot about the behavior of your combustion. So you know where spark timing is, you know where if the engine is knocking. And so instead of having a spark map, you can just tell like, okay, spark here, because you know like how the curve of the pressure is. So you know what the maximum pressure is at, where the maximum
What does that
pressure is at.
actually mean?
So your piston, yeah.
What does that actually
like, oh my
equate to
God,
what you feel on the
Yeah,
track?
so like this is great.
Oh, it's something that you can't even feel because it's one revolution of
Right.
your engine. So like your piston's pushing up.
I guess what
it's
is it? What does
compressing.
this tell you to make better?
It's
and they're doing it in
telling-
real time.
in Formula One. They're doing real time, which is absolutely amazing. So if you're pushing your gases too much, is getting too hot. You can have cases, for example, where like you have your flame coming down in your cylinder. So picture like a big flame front coming down, but then like conditions are so bad or so perfect for it that like you have another ignition somewhere else, and that's knock. So like imagine like your flame is coming down, and then you have like a fireworks in your cylinder that's starting. So like that's going to be pushing down on your piston when you really don't want it. That's uncontrolled combustion. And you don't really control when that happens, but when you see that, you usually hear that like knocking sound on your engine, or you can see if you have cylinder pressure data, you can see your pressure going like crazy, like it spikes, like it's a firework in your engine. So when you see that, if you have cylinder pressures, you can be like, okay, we're going to retard timing. And that takes care of it because it actually just reduces the power that the engine is making. You have less force on the piston. You're building less pressure and less heat in the cylinder.
So why would it change? Like conditions?
Yeah.
Like so
Yeah.
conditions like temperature.
Like temperatures, for example. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So or like hotspots. Like you have it, like for example, little debris in the cylinder, like an oil particle that's floating, and it's like you're already at like really high RPM. You're like really full throttle, and it's like building heat in the engine, and so like it's going to auto ignite essentially like in front of the flame. So that's like undesirable combustion, and like
So just PJ's EB strategy all last year.
or tech. But so when that happens, it can destroy your engine. So usually we have knock sensors. They're little accelerometers on the engine, and they kind of sense the vibration and the noise that the engine is making. And so that it's really hard to tune. That sends a message to the ECU and it says, okay, retard timing. But if you
Okay.
have those sensors, they're like, not the knock sensors, but if you have the sensors we're using in engine dyno, those are like $4,000 a sensor
Wow.
with the whole like data
And that's not even changing
processing.
it live.
And
That's a whole
that,
other layer to it.
that
right?
would be changing it live.
So
if you
could
had
you?
that,
So
but
could
that's-
you? Like, I don't know how deep we can go, but could you technically have that? Like, could you just put that on the bagger and use them live, like out of a race scenario?
Yeah, but you'd have to pack the bags with a ton of like amplifiers and signal processing. So I don't know
okay.
how they do it really
Okay, okay.
in Formula One,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
like,
I don't know why
they
I'm
must
thinking
have,
it's
like-
like Bluetooth. Like,
no,
what the
like
fuck?
I don't know how they do it in Formula One, but they must have like crazy computing power, like embedded into the car because like you're getting data point at every crank angle. So like run rotation is like 360 degrees, and usually we take 10 data points per crank angle, so it's like 3,600, right? So like it's a ton of data points at all time, and you're feeding that into an ECU that has to process everything really, really fast. It's crazy, but Formula One is doing it. And so that's already more like AI based because the engine or the processing system sees
It has
everything
to.
real time, and then
Yeah.
it's making decisions based on that, based on like a physics model where we tell it like we want those conditions, and it's like reacting to it. We're not there yet on motorcycles. We're not there yet on cars even. But for some reason, Formula One has figured it out, and like that's really intriguing to me.
But didn't they take in MotoGP? They took away a lot of the adaptive.
Yeah, you can do a lot of
You can't
live
do.
stuff.
Yeah, you can't do like it used to, like in the beginning of the race, and it would change toward the end of the race just because,
Yeah.
or it would learn like the old Morelli or whatever it was that they were doing.
It's funny, we don't really know what the engine tech is in MotoGP.
No,
Like
that's
we know they're using like air springs, but like as far as engine strategy and stuff like that, it's really, really secret. Like it's really hard to find good literature on like what the strategies are. And yeah, like we hear about arrows a lot. Like they're always talking about arrows. They're always talking about
Yeah.
the tire pressure rule and all that, but like nobody's really talking about the engines. Like I don't really know much about the GP engines. It's very kept on the
and
wraps.
it's so crazy that you've got like Ducati, and then where they come from 2-3 years ago, everybody on a Screamer engine, and then now everybody's totally changed their approach, and it's so crazy because everyone, especially all the riders, when they're we need more power, but it's more about grip and lane grip,
Yeah,
and it's I think the whole thing is fascinating.
I think we have enough power to make the motorcycle move. We really need to manage the power down to the ground,
And that's
and
what
that's the tough part.
that was like Ducati's whole thing for the last 20 years. They've always been the fastest motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about electric? Is that a scary prospect or an intriguing prospect for somebody like you? Obviously, you're smart enough that you're going to learn, and what you do will apply in some shape or form to electric stuff. But
Oh wow, I didn't even think
for
about
an
that.
expert on combustion.
Yeah,
boy.
I'm such a hardcore combustion person, but I think part of what I do with motorcycle data is like that's applicable on like electric bikes. You're still going to have brakes, you're still going to have throttles, you're still going to have some kind of like power management. And so I do think that this kind of side job that I'm doing in MotoAmerica is really gonna help me bridge that. Like, see, if let's say Harley goes crazy and says we're not gonna have any more internal combustion engines in like 5 years, I think I could easily pivot,
Yeah.
and I could pivot in racing even more easily. I don't see that happening. It doesn't seem like it's the direction we're taking. We have Livewire, and I can't speak for the company. I don't really know, but I know we have Livewire. Like they're looking into electric bikes, but as far
Livewire's sick.
yeah, it's pretty cool. But as far as like where the world is going with internal combustion engines, we still have a few years. I think I can probably finish my career.
Think
not
about
have to
this
worry
though.
too
There's
much.
going to be a certain time when there's going to be an engineer that's not going to have ever heard or looked at a combustion engine. That's pretty scary to think about. When you
Yeah.
think about it, like there's going to be somebody like you that whatever, and be like,
It's like me and carburetors. Like I don't know how to work on a carburetor. I mean, I've taken one apart, but that's
What?
about it. Yeah.
That's like, I guess, like a coal engine or something, right? I mean, you probably don't know much about coal
Yeah.
engines.
It's
Or
like
maybe you do,
I
but-
understand how they work,
Yeah.
but it's not like I have a lot
I know,
of
but it's
experience
just
on it.
scary to think about when you think. I mean, it's not scary, but it's just crazy to think that probably in our future,
All right, boomer, relax, dude. It's not changing that quick.
dude, 10 rental properties, baby.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I know that the master's degree that I've done is struggling a little bit to find people. They've had to pivot towards like defense contracts and like hybrid work and more electronic works, like how the ECU manages like all those strategies. So like, I mean, we have to learn, we have to expand our horizons
Yeah.
and like start learning other skills. But I think like as far as how fast a motorcycle is going around the track and like how much throttle input you put, like it doesn't really
Doesn't
matter the
change.
No,
powertrain.
yeah,
What
exactly.
about didn't Kawasaki have
Yeah.
a hydrogen
Yeah.
hybrid?
Yeah, they're working on
I can't even
hydrogen.
Get
They
my
just-
head around that.
They just released it. I still have to read the article, but Kawasaki is cool. They're really pushing a lot of the different like technologies, but they're huge. Like they actually make gigantic marine
Yeah,
engines.
Boats and
Yeah.
trains
You
and
trains,
helicopters.
they're
and
massive in
everything.
train, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they're-
like there's a lot of development on hydrogen, natural gas. I was doing a lot of natural gas and propane work on big engines. So
Whoa.
yeah, there's like they're probably taking a lot of the learnings from like what they're doing in the marine space and then applying it to motorcycles.
What's the most horsepower you've ever seen of an engine?
I don't know.
Oh.
I've worked on the biggest engine I've worked on is a 15-liter Daimler engine, truck engine.
What does that mean? 15 liter, like how many?
Like it's as big as this room. Like it's bigger than the
Oh.
table.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
15 liters. Okay. How many?
Yeah. So it's like it goes into
well,
those
like
big
your truck
semis.
is like a 6.7 liter or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like your truck is probably like a 6.7 V6 or V8.
No, I think
What is it?
She's got a Chevy.
Chevy. I got a
Yeah.
V8.
Yeah, it's
V8.
probably like it's probably around like six something liters.
Cold
yeah.
start V8. The Vance and
Got the
Hines
Vance
on the back.
exhaust on it.
Woo.
You have to trade those in for some Screaming Eagles.
I
dude.
know, man. You get clipped. A rolling Daytona, you're clipped. Breach.
Terry's gonna come and take those things off.
Dude, that's going to get repoed.
Imagine Terry's underneath your catalytic converter, just cutting your exhaust.
I'd come unglued.
I didn't even know Vincent Hines made truck stuff. I thought
They
they were
just
just
started.
like
They're
doing.
pivoting, yeah.
They just
Wow.
started. Yeah, they just started. They were at SEMA the last 2 years. I've got the first Chevy truck exhaust for the
Silverado.
Silverado 1500. Yeah.
You're really gonna have to give it back.
Dude, it rumbles. It rumbles, man.
Day he got it put on, he's like, dude, I don't know, man.
Dude.
I don't know if I can do this.
Dude. Well, they told me it wasn't loud. That's the thing. They're like, it's not loud. It's not loud. I'm like, Mike, the president or CEO. I'm like, Mike, is this thing loud? He's like, nah. Sounds good. And I'm like, all right, cool. Guy puts it on. I roll in back to where they did it. And he's like, man, this thing sounds good. And I was like, sweet. But I don't know why I had zero concept that it like, I don't know. Start it up. And it's just like, whoa. And I'm like, oh my. This
Is it a diesel?
No. That's
Also-
No,
awesome.
he's one of those like Florida guys, you know what I mean? With
Dude,
a
Yeah.
big V8.
it's
just straight
so-
pipes, you know?
It's so loud. It sounds great. It sounds really, really good, but it's loud. Like it's really loud. It's like it sounds like a car. If you start it up with a cold start, it's like, yeah,
Like you're a bagger racer through and through.
Through and
Big
through,
trucks,
yeah.
like
Flames everywhere.
yeah.
dude, stop.
They'll never take you back in BSB. Like it's over.
Oh, dude,
You guys are going to BSB next year, baby.
we're doing it.
You're doing it.
We're doing it. You heard it here first.
Just got the rumor mill going.
Yeah. Yo, Higgs.
Well, we're at the 2-hour mark. It's been super cool to have you on and learn a lot about shit I had no clue about.
It's crazy.
Whatsoever.
We didn't really know where this was gonna go, but I'm like, it's really cool. You were able to really put it down into layman's terms, and that was really cool. And I think it's awesome that you're our first. I don't want to say non-racer, but first industry person.
Mhm.
Just nerd.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Just because you're not a racer doesn't mean you get to skip out on the last part. And I think you listened to our podcast.
Dude,
so you know what's
she's been
coming.
prepping for
It's
it.
just crepes.
Oh, wait, crazy story, really quick. So, Paris Eiffel Tower. How many times have you been there?
A ton. I went to high school close to Paris.
Okay, so do you know? Dude, this could be really cool. Do you know the crepe stand right across the street?
So I knew it was gonna be some.
No.
Do you
Which
don't
one
know?
of the 3,000?
No, it's the one if you're
It's
looking.
like asking if you know of a hot dog truck in New York City.
Stop! It's literally it's the only one. There's not 1,000. There's literally one on the corner. There's the water. It's
No,
you've
no.
never what? You've never gotten a crepe there?
No.
That
No, because
bums me
crepes are
out.
actually from where I'm from my region.
So you
Ooh,
boy
she's
called
claiming
called
them.
Brittany.
She's claiming the crepe.
Like we're claiming the crepes, crepe and cider.
All right,
We don't
before we
know.
go into this, because I don't
I
want
thought cider was American. Fall,
Yeah.
baby.
What you didn't. The cider's not
Apple cider?
French.
It's French.
You guys even have apples in France?
It's much better.
Have you ever tried Freedom Fries?
No. I convert them into French fries.
So, before we ask this question, what's your favorite? Like, what's the go-to crepe in France? Or
It's like super simple. It's butter and sugar.
huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Like-
wasn't.
I'll
like
stick
warmed
with Nutella.
up.
I'll
Yeah.
stick with Nutella.
Well, okay,
banana.
I
Nutella too.
want-
Like Nutella is like up there, but like the simplest one, like butter on the pan, like you put your cup in it, sugar and actually lemon juice. Like just
So
like
the one I had across was Nutella pistachio ice cream.
what?
Yeah.
Other fake
Ooh, so good.
ice cream on top of it.
Sounds
Yeah.
Americanized, right?
Yeah.
Sounds
Have
like
you
a
ever been to
tourist
an
trap.
IHOP?
No.
You've never been to an
They have
international.
crepes. I think that
You've
could just, like,
never
cross
House
been
out
of
the menu.
pancakes.
The international.
You know who
right?
loves crepes?
Jean Girard.
Who?
Rich Millman.
Yeah, but
Do you know who that is?
he's so
The
bougie.
guy that owns Garage 3. IHOP, Florentine crepe. The
After your
guy-
championship.
The guy dies for them. Like,
Dude, after your championship, he was like, he made sure everybody got up to go to IHOP.
yeah.
Like, and he won't go alone.
Yeah, it was like 8 a.m. on Monday after we won the championship. We had
That's
all
funny.
those bottles of tequila, and then we had to have grapes after.
Yeah.
Oh, that was one night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Albert. All right. So you want to ask her?
Well, let's do it. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So
You've
Yeah.
done something. You're probably on the verge of deportation. Happen to go back to
I've been,
France.
I've been smuggling foie gras.
yeah. And you're locked up. You're locked up abroad, and you've got one set of last meals.
you're on death row, dude.
You're on death row. What's your choice?
It's
Breakfast,
your last
lunch, dinner.
No, your last meal.
Dude, you've given it like 3 different ways. Is it the last meal or the last day?
It's the last meal, but you can have like a meal can be,
All right,
an
what-
entree,
Your
an
last,
appet-
your last dinner.
There you go.
I
And
was
drink.
gonna say crepe, but like now you ruined it, so I'm gonna have to go with something different. I have foie gras for sure. Like
Uh-huh.
I'll import it. I'm probably gonna go to jail because I've smuggled foie gras in the U.S. But like, that's why I'm in jail. But no, like foie gras on bread,
just can't.
on
I
like
just can't.
on like perfect baguettes.
Is that like caviar or something? What is that?
no, it's duck liver.
Ugh.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's so good. It's like
Oh.
it's like supposed to be like a delicacy.
That sounds so French.
Yeah, it's like a pate. Like I mean,
Please
it's
have
like,
you seen the guy on TikTok where he says about the baguette and some lady oh my God. Every time you say what is it?
foie gras.
Oh yeah,
Foie
yeah.
gras.
Foie gras.
Yeah, it's like
Wagwan,
yeah, it's
man.
like fat liver. It's
Sounds
so
like-
good.
What?
Wagwan.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Foie gras.
I have that. I have that and like a bottle of champagne, and
Moe.
I'm done. It's like New Year's Eve type
Dom
dinner.
Perignon.
appetizer.
Wait, so you're having
Yeah.
duck liver?
Oh yeah,
What?
yeah.
Like, is it a big portion of duck liver? Is it little?
no, it's
is
like,
it like
no,
caviar?
it's like little. It's like thin slices, and then you put it on bread. Like it's so
liver
good.
queen over here.
It's so good. It's so French. Like you can't find it here. My parents, like every time that
So
I
you
don't go home.
wait. How do you smuggle?
you,
Well, because it's
How
not
do you-
legal in America
No,
because normal people don't eat it.
All right, I
That's why.
understand the concept of
you can have some in
smuggling.
Chicago.
Yeah, I know, but what do you just like put it on ice,
No,
or is it in like
no,
a
no, like you
spam
have it in-
package?
You can have it in cans. So
What?
It's like, yeah, you can have it like a can.
Like spam?
Yeah, it's like super fancy spam. Like my parents send me that like during Christmas time.
This thing you
Like they
foie gras.
make me like a little care package with like
Has
foie
Josh
gras
had
and,
it?
like chocolate. Yeah, he's had it, but he doesn't really care for it.
Yeah, I don't
It's
blame
an
him.
acquired taste.
So
It's like
okay,
caviar. Yeah.
okay, so you got foie gras, and what are you having for a drink? Champagne?
Champagne.
From where?
It's gonna have. So I went to engineering school in the Champagne region, so it was gonna be something from there.
Okay.
Yeah, probably a Dom Pérignon because it's like top of the top. Yeah. And I'll just like get drunk on champagne.
And then what do you
Get
what are you having for dessert?
Oh man, that's gonna be
Crepe.
sad. No, I love tiramisu. It's not French at all. I'm gonna have tiramisu for
wow.
dessert.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's pretty awesome.
Wow.
No,
so
I want that. I don't want to be on death row, but I kind of want that right now.
you would have that same just lineup?
I'd have like tiramisu and champagne right now.
Hey,
Do they have
what's-
that at Chuckwalla?
No, they don't.
Anything's possible out here.
But we got a mean latte downstairs.
We do.
What's the baguette situation or baguette situation like
In Milwaukee?
Ricky Booby.
but like so our bread here sucks.
I know.
It's horrible. Like I don't know where I don't think you can get fresh bread in America.
Go to New York, dude.
New York has some
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
good. Like I mean, every big town is gonna have big city is gonna have like French immigrants that are like actually.
Not in
Right, so
Florida.
Is the
start
one in
bakeries.
Milwaukee that's good?
Not in Florida.
peddlers,
So
bread
I
peddlers?
found like good croissant and good chocolate croissant in Milwaukee, but I've never found
cannot.
baguettes.
Oh, that's what it was. It was croissant. It was baguette. I can't even do it. And the guy goes, "Ma'am, you can say croissant like the rest of us." Oh, dude, I was dying.
I always have to like say it in like English accent whenever I order one at like a coffee shop.
Like what?
Kind of a croissant.
That's so funny.
That's you don't go full on.
No, they don't understand.
I love croissants. I love
It's
them. The
amazing.
chocolate ones.
I love 'em.
Dude,
Yeah.
I was in Europe and I just every day I'm just like chocolate croissant day.
That and like an espresso. Yeah.
Yeah, dope.
So
Yeah.
I just want to go to Italy just for that.
I know. It was so dude, literally Venice threw in. Give me double mud.
You're so cultured, man.
He's so cultured.
That's literally it. That's it.
They call me Rispoli.
Rispoli. So I went to Italy and they yelled at me because I was saying Rispoli. And they yelled at me. They're like, "No, that's not how you say your name." And I was like, "Dude, yes, it's my name. I know how to say it." And he's like, literally, it's Italian, man. Straight up. He's like, "No, you say it Rispoli." And I was like, "No, it's Rispoli." So we got into this fight with this
So you've
Italian
been
man.
banned.
Yeah, pretty much. And he's like, he's finger waving me. And he's like, no.
I can see it happening too. Yeah.
It was so good when we were in France. It was the weekend. It was before Pittsburgh, and like what did we have? We had Pittsburgh and like Jersey or Pittsburgh. I forgot. No, Jersey
Yeah,
was the last
Pittsburgh,
one.
Coda,
It
Coda
was
and
like
Jersey.
we went to France like
I don't even know.
between two race rounds, and we had like the best breakfast at the few hotels we stayed at. It was like the best croissant. Like everything was fresh in the morning, like fresh baguette and
Meat,
everything,
cheese.
like meat, cheese, and everything. And we come back from France and like we hit a race round. I think it was Pittsburgh.
And you go,
And we're like
Keurig.
stay at a Holiday Inn with like with
Water.
like the fake like scrambled eggs in the morning. I was like
powdered
I'm so
eggs,
sad
you
right
get
now.
dirty water.
I'm so sad. The
Yeah.
coffee was horrible.
You got,
Okay,
what is
well,
it? Cafe Mate, freaking French vanilla.
Yeah, you can't even have a real latte.
All right, it's been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Where can people find you if they need some questions on the data side? You're at Chuckwalla a lot, but if they need to get a hold of you off to do one-on-ones, whatever you need to do, where can
So
they
the
get
best
you?
way is Instagram.
Yep.
So I have two handles. One is Unicornium Engineering. That's where I do like all of the like tech tips. And then my handle, the main one, is like Engine Nerd Isima, which is like
Oh,
it
wow,
comes
that's
from,
what that said?
Yeah, it's Engine Nerd, and it's like the most because it's like Brazilian or like the.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Did you know that? I just
Because like you
I
can't
just
really
figured
pronounce
I-
it.
I just
Engine
figured-
Nerd
I didn't get the
Isima.
nerd part of it.
I just
thought it
Yeah.
was like
figured I couldn't pronounce it.
And yeah, so that's like the best way. And then like every MotoAmerica around.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, no, that's crazy. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
We're gooch.
Thanks for coming on.
Cool.
Perfect.
Thanks for having me. That was fun.
Awesome.
Yeah. Go Nerds.
Woo, 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 woo.
Go Harley.
Go Harley.
Yeah, go
Bleed
HD.
orange.
Orange and black, baby.